1981 to 1983 saw yearly releases in the burgeoning Ultima franchise. Ultimas 1, 2, and 3 made up what would become known as the universe's Age of Darkness. In each game, a figure of great evil was named and defeated by the player character. All three were overhead computer RPGs with similar gameplay elements, although Ultima 3 did enhance the gameplay further, with more complex commands and letting the player control a party of multiple fighters. For the next game in the series, creator Richard Garriott, alias Lord British, decided to take things in a different direction conceptually, while continuing to build on those earlier mechanics. Now beginning the Age of Enlightenment, no great evil emerged for the player to conquer. Instead, the goal was to master 8 virtues, as well as the principles of truth, love, and compassion, in order to become the ultimate example of morality, the Avatar. Beyond this change in objective, Ultima IV brought new depth to the communication system, giving players far more commands to be used in conversation with NPCs. In addition to seeking out and plundering complex dungeons, players would need to approach dozens of townsfolk to receive information and clues as to how they should proceed, all the while being mindful of their actions in order to achieve top marks in every virtue. Ultima IV revolutionized the genre in 1985 with its virtuous concepts and massive scope, even overtaking juggernauts like wizardry in popularity. Today, we return to the world of Britannia in the hopes of finding our own Age of Enlightenment as we take on the quest of the Avatar. It's a video game podcast.
Wow.
And there's so much to discuss. One of us knows all about them.
That's you.
And the other one's a dunce.
That's me.
You're gonna learn about the very best games with 2 annoying dorks.
Fatality.
From asteroids to Zelda. From adventure to Zork. We have no life, and we feel no shame. We need your help, 'cause we're bad with games. Bad with games. Welcome back to the show. My name is Jonathan.
My name is Will.
And we are
Bad with Games. Hooray, hooray, we're back, and John is feeling all better. He's completely healed. Nothing's wrong with him anymore. Yay!
We're back in the podcast groove. Oh, in case anyone missed it or you're confused what we're talking about, we did take a week off last week because I had shingles. And I still have shingles. I'm still shingling.
Right.
I am feeling a lot. Today is probably my best day I've had in a while. Not that I've been awake for very long. Things could get worse. But I don't listen. It doesn't matter. I was sick. We took a week off. You got a bonus Patreon episode. If you liked it, that's great. Sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/badwithgames. If you didn't like it, fine. You can still hear all our free episodes like this one on YouTube, where you can get video gameplay footage of the game we played this week, or wherever you get your audio podcast if you like audio. Great. This week, we're covering Ultima IV, Quest of the Avatar. That's what it's called, right?
Can make like a you needed an IV joke because you were sick or something, but I don't think you get an IV for shingles.
Yeah, I just hope it's not a poison IV.
I do.
Long anticipated episode this week. We had to build more suspense by delaying it. That's why.
Right. Yes, right.
I do have a few patch notes I want to get in real quick.
Okay, let's patch it up.
Well, one important patch note, just another reminder, you've now done 2 consecutive weeks of streams over at twitch.tv/badwithgamespodcast. And you want to update the folks on your progress over there?
Sure. Yeah, I didn't know if that was a patch note or if that was just in your regular announcements or where that went. But figure that all out. But I have started streaming Saturdays at 1 p.m. I am
Eastern.
doing my Eastern, yes. Yeah, why did I not specify? That's stupid of me. 1 p.m. Eastern.
Well, because this is
Not everyone
the
lives
real
literally
time
right here.
zone.
Right, yeah.
I mean, this
There
is the
aren't
one that
other
matters.
times. um yeah, so I've finally picked up my long promised Mario boot camp. I am working my way through in an attempt to be able to beat the original Super Mario Brothers in a single sitting in the hopes that this will, generally speaking, get me better at platformer, but whatever. Uh, but more
Uh-huh.
specifically, better at Mario so that I can go back to Mario World completely proficient and therefore experience all the parts of the game that I didn't really get to interact with. Um,
And Mario 3.
and Mario 3, yes, but I think that Mario 3 and perhaps Mario 2 will also be kind of on the way to Mario World, since that's
Yeah.
one of your favorites. Uh,
Yeah.
we'll see how it all works out going forward, but for the time being, I am pretty happy with my progress. I have managed to get isolated deathless runs on worlds 1 through 4. And putting it all together, I can probably get to world 5 without using a warp zone occasionally. So I think I'm making good progress. I think that it might be reasonable to say that I might be beating this thing within 2 to 3 weeks, maybe, if we're being optimistic. I'm excited. You should all be excited too. Come check it out.
He's doing pretty well, folks. I gotta admit. He's doing not bad. You're gonna want to tune in case he beats it. I have fixed the thing where now it does archive those streams, but they only stay on Twitch for so long. So
hmm
I have downloads of them. I don't know if that is something. Maybe we'll put those up just on Patreon if you want the archives, or maybe I'll chop them up into videos later. I haven't really decided what we'll do with them, but I have them. But
Yeah,
just in case you don't want to miss them, you want to see it when they happen, so you should tune in.
yeah. Maybe a Mario training supercut when I've finally beaten it. We'll see.
There you go. And so that's exciting. Twitch.tv/Bad with Games podcast. A couple other patch notes I wanted to get in. Last week we talked about, or 2 weeks ago, really, we talked about Kirby's
hmm
Adventure.
hmm
And I realized one thing that we forgot to talk about was how at the beginning of the game it teaches you how to draw Kirby.
Oh yes, it does. It does.
I just
Oh,
wanted
I
to know
sort
if
of
that
forget.
inspired you, or if you tried drawing Kirby.
I was thinking about it at the time, but I didn't get back to it. I maybe when I go back to that game, I'll try drawing some Kirby's. Maybe I'll do a
Okay.
Kirby drawing stream.
Oh, good idea. Good idea. That's right. You still got to go back. You'll beat Kirby on stream too. Why not?
Yeah, why
Why not?
not? Why not?
And one more finally, I'm sorry to say it, I do want to bring up Mist one last time.
All right.
Because this is something I meant to say in our last episode, and we just got sidetracked because there were so many comments about Mist. But Will famously was not a fan of Mist, and it caused a lot of contention on the show. But one thing you had mentioned at the top was that
Mhm.
when you were growing up, your dad, you remembered him playing, maybe it was Riven, but like I think Mist and
Yeah,
Riven.
mist or a mist like perhaps. Yes.
So I was gonna say I feel like for the show we need you to talk to your dad and tell him that you hate Mist. And I want to know if he has if he'll respond to you and if he'll like, does he have an opinion on it? Will he care that you don't like it? I'm really curious what he would say to knowing that you played this game and what you thought about it. I feel like that would
That
be
is
fast. I mean, do you have any clue? Like, would he be like, I don't even remember playing that? Or do you think he would actually like have try to convince you it's good or something?
I mean, first of all, I don't actually know if it wasn't like Riven, but
Sure.
I'm sure he remembers it, and I'm sure he would be happy to talk about it at length.
We get him
Uh,
on the show. I have a
maybe.
lot of things to say to him about Three Stooges and Moon Men. I got a lot of bones to pick with this man.
Right, right.
Raising such a terrible, shameful child. Anyway, put that in your notes somewhere. I want you to go talk to your dad. That's your assignment. Because I need to know. I want to know if he'll be ashamed of his kid or what. Maybe just send him that episode.
Hmm. See what he says.
All right. That was all my patch notes. Sorry
All
for
right.
wasting everyone's time.
Those were good patch notes. It was all good.
Let's get into the show proper. Like I said, we're talking about Ultima IV, Quest of
Hmm.
the Avatar, which was released in 1985 originally for Apple II. But of course, there are reports for Amiga and other computer systems, as well as eventually the NES and the Sega Master System. Now, if people are watching the video version, then you've probably already caught on to the fact that this week we played the Sega Master System version of the game.
Yes,
Uh,
I remember there being quite some uh consternation about which one we should be playing, and we didn't get a lot of guidance from our Ultima fans who we asked to write in and guide us. Um
Sure. I mean, not specifically about which system to play
yeah, I
things
guess
on.
not. But like, I mean, come on, if it seemed like there were a lot of options, and I don't know. The point is I don't recall anymore the reasons that you settled on for picking this one, but that is the one we're doing.
So, I mean, listen,
Mhm.
already maybe we're getting comments. Maybe as soon as the episode started, people started writing saying you're
There's
playing
a
the wrong version.
firestorm. Yeah.
But this was what we decided on. A lot of people online I saw did say this, considered this to be the best version of the game.
Mhm.
We'll talk about some of the differences when we get into it, but it is, for the most part, with a few exceptions, this version is very faithful to the original computer version of the game. So, whereas like the NES version, for instance, does a lot of things that are kind of different.
Hmm.
So there's a couple little tweaks, and there's maybe some quality of life type of things in this one. But in terms of convenience and ease of play versus being still close to the original vision, this felt like the best compromise.
Yeah, I mean, also it's easier to like emulate this than to like go find the stupid thing and run it in DOS. So,
Right. There's also like a fan made, patch, a mod that fixes some stuff in the original game. I just didn't want to mess with all that stuff. We just went with an easy option.
okay.
Now, Ultima 4.
Ultima 4.
We, of course, did play Ultima 1.
Yes, we skipped 2 and 3,
That's
which I
correct.
now am beginning to understand is because 1 through 3 are the Age of Darkness. So we did the first one in the Age of Darkness, and now we're past that. We're not in the Age of Darkness anymore. So it kind of makes sense to me.
Yes, so Ultima 1, 2, and 3 come out in successive years. They just popped these fuckers right out one after another. And they sort of, in terms of the overall Ultima chronology, they represent their own trilogy. And
Mhm.
I believe 4, 5, and 6, I could be wrong on that, are like the start of a new trilogy. Certainly 4 is the start of a new quote unquote age. It's the age of
Mhm.
enlightenment. So it is kind of a fresh start. The other reason is that Ultimas 2 and 3 are pretty similar to Ultima 1. Ultima 3 was the first game that let you have a party of characters instead of just playing as one person.
Okay.
And and there's a little, like, gradually they added a little more in terms of character conversations and some other stuff. So it's not like everything in Ultima 4 just popped up, and Ultima 1, 2, and 3 are all exactly the same.
Mhm.
But I think they're close enough. And like in terms of the plot, basically those games are just, hey, another bad guy popped up. Go beat him
Right.
again.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for all that you're saying that some of the stuff that's new this game did develop, throughout, it didn't just all spring into existence at once. Uh, and maybe this is getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. It's very recognizably just still Ultima, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
it's not that different. If it had all, if instead of popping these out one after another, they'd put 2 to 3 years in between two games, this could just be the next game in the series, and I wouldn't be like, holy shit, they revolutionized it. But yes, that is my understanding, is that the first three games, there's an evil wizard or witch or warlock or demon or some such thing, and the hero beats it. And this time there's not that, right? We have exited the Age of Darkness.
That's right. In the first game, it was Mondane. And then I think one of the other ones is his apprentice, maybe, and one of them is like his wife or something. It's like some other person pops up who's pissed that you killed the other people. But now we're in an age of enlightenment. Everything's hunky dory. The Lord British rules over all with a British fist.
Jesus.
I'd remind everybody what you thought about Ultima 1 and, kind of your little background before we get into it.
All right, I'll try to remember what I thought about Ultima 1. It's been a long time. But I do recall that it was a little bit baffling to start because the mechanics are quite strange. I did uh once I kind of got comfortable moving around, I did really like the extreme freedom you have to just roam around and explore the map. Um in many ways, I found it even a little bit inspiring. Like, why don't I just make a tiled video game where all you do is run around a gigantic map and like whatever? Like, that's fun enough on its own. Um, I do remember liking a number of those things. The dungeons, I think, the dungeons were more wizardry-esque, and so they were kind of like, but they were also maybe less important to the game as a whole. I remember thinking that one of my um, critiques was that I didn't necessarily have enough of a sense of like place there where different regions on the map didn't feel different enough from each other. Like this forest over here and this forest over here don't feel like different forests. That's just this is the area that has trees on it or something like that. But on the whole, I liked it well enough. I didn't love it. I do see that I gave it a 7.5. Yes.
Which is pretty high for
It's
you.
pre-
Like, that's pretty
yeah,
good.
it is pretty high. It is pretty good. Like it being this like very open thing where you just get to wander around and it's more RPG-esque, and I'm not necessarily trying to hone any particular skill, makes it easier to just kind of like it's more comfortable. So because I do think that that can come up with something like a platformer where it's like, or even a puzzle game like Myst, where it's like if if I'm it's got a skill associated with it, right? So like I have to really enjoy doing the thing because I'm probably going to fuck it up at first, and if I'm not enjoying it and I'm fucking it up, I'm not getting anywhere. Whereas I don't have to enjoy Ultima in general as much to have a pleasure, like a pleasant time playing it. Just because, I'm not getting as shut out by not being able to, if that makes sense.
You found the base mechanics enjoyable enough, and you were able
Yeah,
to. There was freedom to explore and
yeah.
experiment and play around.
Once you get over the what the fuck is Ultima, how does it work hump.
Yeah, yeah. Hump I also had to overcome, but I did end up enjoying Ultima. I did beat it.
Hmm.
And I got to see at the end when you go to space, which I thought was pretty neat, although not a bit clunky in its execution. Yeah, I also liked it. I gave it a 7.
Hmm.
Whether that means I liked it less than you, who knows? We have different senses of scale,
Hmm.
perhaps. But I enjoyed it overall. Like, it was clearly felt very dated in many ways, but it was like an interesting experience. And I mean, I felt compelled enough to play it through to the end. And there was a point where I kind of locked onto uh, like a method of grinding a little bit to get my level up so that the game became less of a struggle to play through. And once I locked into that, I think it helped me find more fun with it because I was no longer just suffering and dying and being confused. So that was the whole thing. Now here we are on Ultima 4, 4 years later, from 1981 to 1985. So even though there have been some incremental bumps along the way, this does represent from our end kind of a new frontier. Neither of us have played the Ultima series before, so this is one of the games we're going to talk about on the show where this is new for two, as I like to say. New to us both. Before we get into it, let's break down the box art. I've got 3 box arts here this week. I wish I could tell you exactly what the variants of these were for. I'm not 100% sure. I think one is the
Hmm.
PC release, one is maybe for the NES game, and then there's one, I don't know why there's a third one. I don't know what these were made for because there's so many versions of this game. But I think what seems to be the primary box art of this game features what I presume is the protagonist, aka the would-be avatar, which we'll talk about what that means,
Hmm.
looking kind of like Jesus Christ or
Yeah.
Moses from the back, like with a staff that has an ankh on it, and he seems to be splitting the sea or something.
It's very.
With
I mean, this is Moses, and he's holding an ankhed staff. I, I
yeah,
guess they were fleeing Egypt, so right, like that.
who was the Jews?
The Jews when he split the sea.
Yeah,
So the
but what?
ankh, because the ankh is a. You
I
see,
see. Yeah, you're right. Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
and because it's sunset, the sky is red, so it's a red sea.
Okay. You and I both know that's orange.
Listen,
So
I'm doing my best.
there's that one. Then there's this other box art that has multiple party members on it,
Hmm.
standing on a sort of a mountain. And I guess the one in the middle is probably, again, with the Ankh staff, would be your character. Then there's like a knight, a bard, and a guy with a sword. I don't know what
Yeah,
classes they're supposed to be.
I'm presuming like fighter and paladin probably,
Yeah.
but
That sounds pretty great.
that one's a bard for sure.
And then there's another one, which is, again, a guy from the back with the Ankh staff. That's the only constant amongst these covers.
Hmm.
Only there's like a giant snake sea monster coming out of the water, threatening him with fangs.
Hmm.
And all 3 of these, I would say, have a similar, just like the first Ultima box art did, they have kind of a realistic uh, art style to them. In this case, maybe it's just because of the content, but it looks almost biblical. It looks like the way you would see like a portrait of Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, so
medieval.
I'm gonna say right off the bat, just to get this out of the way, this third one, this last one is my least favorite.
The snake one.
For the snake one, yes. And part of the reason is because the first two look more, I don't know, like maybe biblical is the word, but maybe religious as well. Because when I look at the one that you said he looks like Jesus or Moses. I mean, that one is just straight like, come on. This is just a religious figure. This is just some kind of ancient what is the word? Uh Judeo-Christian type thing, right? Like it's just so obviously that. But even this first one, when you look at this, you have a standard adventuring party, but the way in which this character, this avatar here is positioned, he really does kind of come off like a religious figure. I don't look at this and see like, oh, like fighter or rogue or something, and like a paladin and like a bard, and oh, that must be their wizard. Like something about the staff and the way he's posed, and like the specific way his beard and hair flow, the fact that there's an ankh on the end, and the way that there just seems to be a beam of light coming out of it. It's not like he's shooting anything. It's like that's its natural state. He feels more spiritual or divine than a standard wizard, maybe like a Lord of the Rings wizard or something. And so I get those kinds of vibes from these first two. And this last one it's just kind of a guy facing off against a serpent. Like I don't really get the sense that you're on some kind of spiritual or holy quest. I don't really get the sense that you've got a party venturing along with you. I barely even get the sense that you're in some kind, like going across some kind of strange land. Like you're just facing off against a sea serpent here. Like I don't it doesn't fit to me with what they're going for.
Yeah. Yeah, that's to get, it's good to get the NES action players interested. You got to give them a
Mm.
hook. The Jesus
Yeah, I
one
guess that's
reminds
the
me
way
of Donald
Nintendo.
Trump. Doesn't it kind of look like Trump in a way?
Yeah, it kind of does. I can see that. Right.
I suppose, when I'm playing this game, we'll get into it, but I don't really feel the sense of it being a religious game necessarily. But I
Mhm.
suppose it is all about these virtues and things that
Mhm.
could very much be associated with a religion, a Christianity type of thing. So I guess it makes sense the way these covers are presented. It isn't totally incongruous with the content of the game. It is
Mhm.
interesting that they decided to go that way, that's how they were marketing this. I mean,
Yeah,
it
I mean,
is
I
by a guy
don't
named Lord British.
I definitely I can't get over that. Um,
Uh-huh.
every fucking time. Um, I so one thing, yeah, so I would agree with you that the game does not come across to me as very religious at all, but it does come across to me as relatively spiritual. Like there is enough of the gameplay is just sitting around talking about like what are the virtues and how do you live a virtuous life and what does that mean for you and like how do I embody these things. Like it has a sense of spirituality for it, but it's not like organized or structured in any kind of real way there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's for people who, don't believe that there's a man with a beard up there, but maybe there's something.
Yeah. There's a man with a beard down here. He's called the Avatar. He's got an Ankh staff.
That's right. I thought you were talking about me or you.
Yeah, right.
You
Yeah.
have more of a beard than I do.
Mhm.
Anyway, we don't need to bring that up. Also, all these, I don't know if Ultima's 2 and three's covers were the same thing, but they all have also in common with the Ultima 1 cover that they're all structured the same way. It's a person or people in
Mm.
the foreground on some kind of like a ledge or a cliff or something, and then there's some stuff in the background. It's either a dragon or it's a monster or it's just the sky, but they're all the same, like dramatic. They locked
Mm.
into what they like. Person in front on cliff, and then there's stuff in the back. They all look the
Yeah.
same.
That's the Ultima style, I guess.
I guess so. Ultima 4 Quest of the Avatar. What does that mean? Well, in Ultima 4, it is still an RPG. You are still a dude on a map going from town to town, and there are also dungeons where you can fight monsters. But now, instead of going after some great evil, your goal is to master all of the 8 virtues
Mhm.
to become the Avatar. And in so doing, Lord British has called out for someone to try to do this to be like a beacon of hope and beauty for society. That's sort of the story of the game. And in
Mhm.
order to do this, you'll need to go to different towns and talk to a lot of people and learn about certain techniques of how to improve your abilities in all of those virtues. And then eventually you can go to shrines and pray or meditate at them, is how they word it, to earn masterdom of those virtues. And then there's a whole thing with collecting stones, and there's a lot of other
Mhm.
stuff going on. But that's the gist of the game. It's a top-down overhead RPG. Very similar to the original Ultima, as you said, in terms of its overall construction of how you move and talk to people and stuff like that. There are some big differences, especially, like I said, with our Sega Master System version of the game.
Mhm.
So I'll kind of lay out the two biggest ones. The first one is that in the original Ultima on the computer, Ultima 4 as well on the computer, not just Ultima 1, the dungeons were all more of this 3D style labyrinth first person, the way that Wizardry was, as you said.
Mhm.
And in our version of the game, they changed it so that you never break away from the top down view. And so I think the layouts are mostly the same and that kind of thing, but it's just a different presentation. And the other big difference is in this game, the conversations you have with NPCs are very important. In
Mhm.
the computer version, you would talk to them by literally just typing in keywords. So you could type in things like name, job, health, and they would give you a response depending on which word you typed in. And here, instead of having to remember all those words or take notes or write them down, they give them to you as an option, which in some ways is easier. In some other ways, can make you have more work because, for instance, in the PC version, if you if somebody told you, oh, just ask this guy about the rune and he'll tell you, you could do
Mhm.
it. If you knew the word rune, you could just type it in. Whereas in our
Mm.
version of the game, you had to go learn that you could say rune from an NPC.
Yeah.
So it kind of forces you to play it the way the game meant you to play, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Additionally, there are some people who you might go up to and then you might say like, "Oh, what are you doing?" You'd ask like job or whatever, and then they'd say, "I do this," and then that would unlock some words for us, and we would say, "Okay, so tell me more about this," and they might tell you. And let's say I forgot what they said and I needed to hear them say it again. I couldn't I would have to go through that whole process again, right? Like I couldn't be all like, he couldn't be like, I fight for justice. And I'd say, tell me about justice. And then he'd, oh, go do whatever thing. If I come back to him, justice isn't unlocked. I have to go all the way back through the tell me what you're doing here thing from scratch
Mm.
again. Um, so even outside of like if you found out elsewhere, there were times where that does require you to like redo more work than you would have had to do. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, there are times where it's not like people will give full responses to stuff, but uh like if you ask them the standard key, like I said, sometimes you ask them the standard keywords, and then if you ask them about a word that they said, I fight for justice. What's justice? Da 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 da. Then then you can get more conversations. But with some people, they just say, I slop the pigs and there's nothing else. And if I were doing that on the PC, I would have to every conversation be like, "Oh, he slops the pigs? Tell me about slop." No? Pigs?
Mm.
No? Okay. And I could see that getting very annoying. So, I don't
Yeah.
know, pros and cons.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I would say overall, I think I prefer this system for the simplicity of it, but it's interesting. It's a different type of
Mhm.
mindset, and also, of course, we're playing with a controller. Whereas in the original, it would have been more like Ultima One, where you had to
Mhm.
press K to climb and shit like that.
Right,
Here, we
right.
just have a menu. There's options.
Right.
It's made for consoles.
Yeah, which and I do think that's probably better on the whole, even though, again, much to my chagrin, it does remove my ability to not be able to make progress with an NPC and just be like, fuck off, right? I can't tell an NPC to fuck off. I don't know how to do that.
Your virtues go down for sure for that.
For sure would, yeah. um but yeah, I think that's I like this system generally. I think this is probably better. I do think that it would be better if in maybe a more powerful console, it would remember how like where you were in your conversation with every single NPC, but I understand why you're not doing that at this point in video game history. So, I think this is probably for the best.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Like I said, this is the version that it seems most people would say play this one.
Mhm.
Either it would either be this, or a lot of people did say play the PC version, but use this mod that kind of
Mm.
patches some stuff and makes it simpler for you. So it just depends on how particular you are, how pure you want to be to that original experience or not. This game did come out in 1985. So we are going back in time quite a bit in terms of our personal RPG progress on the show.
Mhm.
The most recent RPG we played this season was Final Fantasy II, which was 1989, 1990, something like
Is
that.
it really that
1988.
wow, these are so early. I keep expecting, like, they must have hit into the 90s by now.
No, we have not played so I guess this isn't that. It's only 3 years earlier, but Final Fantasy II did kind of feel like a big step
Mhm.
forward. Even Dragon Quest from 1986 feels in many ways more of a step forward from this. But it does feel like we're kind of going back to a more old school RPG approach that we haven't played as much this season.
Mhm.
We're both new to this, but we usually start with you in terms of your initial impressions and how playing this game went for you the past 1 to 3 weeks since we took a week off that we've been toying with this one. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I mean, I will say I would like to say that I used the extra week well, but
Yeah, we know you
really I
didn't.
used it. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I was actually feeling a little bit exhausted with all the new games. I think Mist took a toll on me, and I was just like, oof. So I got a little rested, you know. I got a little rested. But yeah, so the experience of playing this game, um it's very funny because because so few games work the way Ultima does, and it's been such a long time since I played the first Ultima. I basically had to re-go through that Ultima hump where I was like, how the fuck does Ultima work?
Mhm.
um
Yeah.
right, I'm just like, I don't, I'm where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to be doing? Help, I got lost and I don't know. Oh god, I died. Oh no. There were several times where I like died on purpose just to teleport back to the start.
Sure.
Because I just had no clue where I was. There was also a very long time in the game in which I did not level up because I didn't remember that in the original Ultima you had to go talk to Lord British in order to level up, and I
I
was
don't
just
think you
like,
did actually. We talked about this
"Are you
in that
sure?"
episode.
Mm.
Yes, I remember you were confused
Okay, well,
because you
where?
didn't realize that you leveled up, but I'm pretty sure you did.
Okay, well, in this one I didn't level up for a long time, and
In
then
this
and then I
one,
was like, wait,
in Dragon
yeah,
Quest, I think you had to go back to the king. Maybe I think maybe,
hmm
but that is true in this one. You do have to talk to Lord British to level up,
okay, maybe it was Dragon Quest then that did that, yeah, because
or wizardry. I don't know.
that
Anyway,
was the thing that I was doing here is that you know I leveled up my first character a couple times when I
no,
was
not
getting
Dragon
trapped
Quest. Sorry,
in
I'm just.
death loops, because I would die and teleport in front of Lord British and be like, "Fuck it, let's continue." But once I actually started getting a real party together, I wasn't really dying anymore, and so I just wasn't going back there. And I was like, "Geez, how am I at like all this experience and I'm at like 800 experience. I'm only at level 2. How is that? That can't be right. I don't know how that happened." But
So I think 800 experience only gets you to like level 3. So
no, it was like level 4, but
okay, all
but
right.
still.
Yes. Okay. Well, we should set the stage for people a little better here. It's my fault. I jumped you into your impressions, but
Mhm.
I mean, this is when you start this game up. First of all, this game came with like multiple books.
Yes.
So when you talk about having to
Oh yeah, that's
relearn how to play Ultima,
God. It's been too long since I started this game because we took 2 weeks, but yes, that this is an important part of the conversation that I skipped right past because I forgot about it.
yes, there's a opening cutscene. The premise of the game is actually that you yourself in the real world are the main character of this game. Like you
Mhm.
have been teleported to this land, which is
Yes.
kind of cool. And it's an isekai basically.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
What did we find out when we did the Yerky Boys? We talked about portal fiction or something like Narnia and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, portal fiction. That's what this is.
And so in the beginning, well, first of all, or maybe this comes after, but they'll ask you a series of kind of a personality quiz to determine which
Mhm.
class you'll be.
Yes, you're
Uh,
like you walk out into the woods and you meet a Romani traveler who
hmm,
reads your
do they
fortune
say
with
that?
tarot cards. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what they say.
Okay. And yes, depending on which cards you pick, they determine your starting class. Maybe they give you an option to just choose it, or you can do this method. I don't remember, but I did that
I don't
method.
I don't think they do. I think they just give you the cards
I
cuz
thought there was some kind of like,
mm,
if you want, you could just do it this way. I thought there was an option, but maybe I'm
mm,
wrong. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I just remember going through that and being like, I don't really know what this is going to do.
Yeah, I figured it'll be fine. I just went
Yeah,
with the
it
flow.
it was. Yes.
And then there's a part where they say, "Oh, you have these books," and it says, "Go read those books." And if you try to press
Yeah.
through it, it says, "No, seriously, stop
Yeah.
playing and read these
Yeah, you
books."
have physical books we gave you, go read them. Yeah.
And once again, this does harken back to wizardry and Zork, and
Mhm.
we have played a lot of these very old school computer games where they came with tomes that you're
Mhm.
meant to, not just instruction manuals. There's one book that is the history of the world. And then there's a spell book, which lists all the spells you can cast and like their ingredients. And there also, I believe, I don't know if I sent this to you if you found this, but I think the original game came with also a cloth. I don't know, it wasn't actually cloth, maybe, but some kind of a map, except that the map also was like written in a different language, and you actually had to use a key to translate the language to know what the
Mm.
map
I
said.
wish I had that map because I had the key to it and I used it on like the title of the magic book.
Wow,
It's
you
called
are
like the
such a
magic
dork.
book or something. I don't know. It wasn't
You,
really worth it.
I thought about sending you that map because I realized I didn't know it and I found it late, but then I was like, I'm sure he
Mm.
Googled and figured it out if he needed to. But
Yeah,
I should have not overestimated your abilities.
I didn't know that it existed, so I was just like, all right, I've got the two books that I need. So,
Yeah. Well, eventually I just was like, I want a map. I
mm,
wasn't trying to find
yeah.
one that came with the game.
I did want a map, but I also wasn't didn't want to look up one that was like fan made. I was like, if it's not supposed to come with the map, then I'll
Yeah,
either learn
I
it by
know.
wandering
You're a
or
loser.
there is, in this section
I like to
of
just do what the game
history of
tells me.
Britannia, there is a whole section that lists out all the different parts of the world, and I did
Yeah.
actually get to a point where I was reading that, and I was like, okay, so if I go northwest from here, I'll be at around this forest, and if I then go east from there, I'll be at this plains. And so I was trying to like piece it together from just reading it in words. Would have been nice to have a map, but it's fine.
Yeah, so this book does it reads and is written like a like it's written,
Hmm.
not like like an instruction manual. Like this is a book from this world with the history of it. There's chapters, geography, fellowship. But if you read it, it is kind of a hidden instruction guide. Like it does tell you about all the classes, the locations in the game. Uh, I don't. To me, at least, when I first read it, it seemed almost like maybe this is just flavor. But then when you're playing the game, it becomes
Hmm.
clear that no, this is all actually stuff that is relevant to your gameplay as well. So you almost
Yeah.
like you kind of do have to read this or be able to reference it while you're playing, unless you just want to really
Yeah.
struggle and not know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I have mixed feelings on it, right? Because on the one hand, I really do like presenting it as this tome and even engaging with it in game. Like you have this book, go read. Like you're connecting. It's not even a manual that you can reference. Like it's diegetic. Is that a word you would use for this?
Sure.
I don't know. Uh, but on the other hand, there are times where that becomes unwieldy because you end up saying, okay, um I don't know how to do this thing. Well, it turns out it is in the book, but because the book is not listed out like how to do X, Y, and Z, it's kind of like, well, if you don't remember every single detail in this fucking 40-page book, then you're just going to have to reread the whole thing until you see it. So, like, for example, there was a long period where I was stuck because I was like, I want to go to these other islands and I presume I can buy a ship maybe because I remember buying modes of transportation last game, and there's just nowhere to do it. And in the manual, it does tell you, you can if pirates attack, you can board their ship. But it says that like one sentence offhandedly in some passage about something else, and so it actually like happened randomly because I got attacked at the shoreline, and I was like, oh right, I do remember reading that. But it does become a problem. On top of that, you do end up with this thing where yes, they tell you to go read it at the beginning, but that's really not good enough. There is so much information to absorb, you are not going to remember all of it, and it's not well indexed. So you are going to have to be like constantly referencing it, and not just referencing it in a way where you are looking up like a page number, referencing it in a way where you are like skimming information and trying to like pull little bits out. Um like I said, I kind of like that for immersion, but there are other times where I'm like, I wish that this simple thing was just explained to me by a character in the game if you don't want to give me a real manual. I don't know.
I think that isn't there also a part in the book with the ships where it says you'll know when when you need a ship, the time will come. You'll know how to get it and what you need it for. It said something like that, I'm pretty
I
sure.
swear it did, but I was just like, yeah, I know the time I need it. It's to go to these islands everybody's talking about, but
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
where the fuck do I get it?
Yeah, yeah, no.
So,
I'm with you on
thanks.
that. I I think in one sense it is pretty cool the way that it's
Mhm,
like I like the idea of having a physical object that you read. It feels very I don't know, it feels very like 80s Princess Bride
mhm,
or Never Ending Story, I guess is what I really mean to say. Of wow, it's like this book is from another real world. And were I a kid and I had this, I think it would make much more sense in that world where this is the game I'm playing and I have this physical book and maybe I'm in the car and I'm just
mhm.
reading it. Like I'm playing
Yeah.
this game for weeks, months, and just every now and then like pick this book up and go, oh, that's right. Oh, now that reminds me, I could go in the game and do this thing with the ship. But I think, at a point, or maybe maybe we made a mistake by playing this game so late in the season, so much later past Ultima 4 and even Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy 2. Where in season 1 of this show, I think I was a little bit more amenable, like thought it was kind of charming and funny to, oh, there's like a book I gotta read. Haha, this is fun. And at this point, I'm also like, well, I don't want to read this book. This is tedious. This is not very interesting to me. I don't want to have to be referencing this and memorizing what it says. This is just so much to have to do. And this is the kind of game that I think does require a certain level of dedication to get the
Mhm.
most out of it. I'll also just say this as kind of a preface 45 minutes in to everything that I say on this show. Just as a reminder, I did have shingles.
Right.
The reason we delayed the show is like for a week I was incapable of enjoying anything. And even when I started playing this game, I was still uncomfortable and in some pain. So I don't know,
Yeah.
just add a little spice of shingle to all of my opinions on this game for this show.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I can see that because I was gonna say like I like the idea of using the book as a reference and having it be in game. I feel like I would rather it be laid out in a way that was more referenceable. Like it does feel like it's laid out like let me tell you about all the things there are, and it's like that's great if I just want to read through it, but if I need to cross-reference minutia constantly, that's not so great. Like, it might have been better to just, like, write it more like an actual encyclopedia, right? And say, okay, let's talk about what professions are. What's magic? What's let's talk about all the regions of the land. Let's talk about all of the different towns that we know about. And then you could still give me all the lore, but it could be laid out in a way where it was easier for me to navigate to specifically what it was that I wanted to look for. Um,
Yeah.
it because I didn't mind it. It was fun, kind of scrolling through to check what things were and being like, oh right, there's this section. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe that'll help me. But it did sometimes feel like I stumbled on like, right? It's like I'm stumbling upon the information that I need in the book rather than actually just finding it, which makes it annoying when I actually need it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, like, so for most of the game, I really wasn't referencing this book because just out of my own stubbornness, I was like,
Mm,
I read through it once. I looked a few times, like early on, mostly for the classes information to be like, oh, which weapon should I buy?
mhm,
Like, what's that kind of basic info? But I will say it's not like if you play the game and you're not constantly looking at this, a lot of this info can be learned, or at least a version of this
mhm.
info can be learned from talking to NPCs.
Yes.
So, like, it is possible to play the game without the book. It's just your journey will be smoother if you have this thing next to you. And I don't know, in a vacuum, I think I would really love that idea of, oh, there's like a real book you have to use to play the game. But in reality, when I was asked to do it, I did kind of bristled at the concept personally.
Yeah. I mean, this is also a symptom of the, like, we have to play these games like once a week, right, where there's a deadline on it. Like, this is the sort of and also just the fact that it's less fun to cross-reference a PDF than a book.
Yeah.
Like saying, like, you've got to get so far, or at least far enough to talk about it by this deadline, and go click over into this other window to scroll around and see what the information is not the same as, like, I'm gonna go back into the world I love and, like, let me flip through my physical book that I have with me. So, like, that, you know, grain of salt on all that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, looking at next week's game, I was like, man, I can't wait to play a game where I just fucking turn it on and play it. I don't have to cross-reference maps and ingredient lists and whatever the fuck I'm looking at to understand everything. Like, it is definitely, yeah, it's you gotta take it with that grain of salt. It is, if you gotta really, like I said, bring a certain level of dedication to get the most out of it. So all that being said, I mean, I also had sort of a bumpy start with this game, I think. I not so much of learning. I don't know if it was, oh, how Ultima 1 works. I guess it was, because they work somewhat similarly. But the game is incredibly open. You begin, you can go anywhere you want in the world. No one is telling you go to this dungeon next, go to this town next, which is much like the original, basically all the 80s RPGs we've played. It really was, Final Fantasy is the only thing that has kind of started to make it more linear. But you look at Ultima, Wizardry, Dragon Quest, all of those are do whatever you want.
Right.
But I did find it here, I don't know if it's more so than other games or if it's just because I'm a little rusty, more of a factor that you really do have to work to figure out what you are supposed to do. And you certainly have to talk to everybody in the town. So that's kind of the flow of the game, I found, is like, if you're in a town, talk to every single person you can, exhaust the list of options, make sure you find all of them, make sure you like choose. Some options are usually kind of pointless. Like, I don't know that you need to ask most people their health, for instance.
Although occasionally there were some people who would give more options when you asked their health. But
right.
That did happen.
It could happen. So you might just want to try every option just to be safe. And then you're supposed to, okay, like basically I'm going to explain kind of the goal of the game, which is not really explained by the game itself. You have to figure this out over time, I think. Which is, there is a hidden, not directly trackable measure of your level in all of these 8 virtues, which are honesty, compassion, valor, justice, sacrifice, honor, spirituality, and humility. And there are certain things that you can do that will raise or lower those values. So for instance, there might be a beggar, and if you give the beggar money, that will raise your compassion value. But the game does not tell you that it does that.
Yeah.
You kind of have to pick that up from context clues in your conversations. There is a guy in the castle who, if you talk to him about each virtue, he'll give you a vague idea. He'll be like, oh, you're doing really good in that virtue. Or eventually he'll say, oh, you're ready to be the avatar of that virtue. Good job. And that's how you know you did it. So you can check that way. But if you look online, which I did, there are measurable, people have figured out, like, this gets you +5, this gets you -3.
Right. Yeah.
That kind of thing. And your goal is to become, as I said, a master of all 8 of these things. And each town is specifically about one of the virtues. And then nearby each town is also a shrine to that virtue. And eventually you need to go meditate at that virtue. But these
Hmm.
are things when I first started, I didn't understand. Like, I found the first shrine, the Compassion Shrine, that's the closest to the city you start in, at least. Um, Early on, like right away, and I even got the runestone for it. And I went there and I was like, okay, I'm meditating. It says, how long do you want to meditate? 1, 2, or 3 cycles? And I was like, I guess 3, because like that seems good. And then they're like, what's the mantra? And I knew the mantra, and you have to type in
Hmm.
the mantra. I was like, okay, cool. I'm doing it. And then it was like, okay, like nothing really happened because I didn't know I didn't fulfill my virtue points enough to do that yet. And so it was like not till much later that I really understood, oh, I go back to the shrine a different time. Like I didn't
Hmm.
really know what the fuck what I was supposed to do with any of that. How long did it take you to lock into that stuff?
I mean, here's the thing. I'm not sure how locked in I ever was on any of this stuff. I'm sort of on what you're saying, but like there is this I and this is another thing that I has me in common with the original Ultima is that like in the original Ultima, you can get pretty far in the game and feel like you have made zero progress. And in this game, I also felt like I was like, I feel like I've gotten a lot of stuff, but I also feel like I haven't done anything. So I was away. Like, I don't think I actually like completely forgot about that guy in the castle who tells you how good you're doing at things. So I did figure out that you must be being tracked at being good enough at these things by things that are not available stats because people were telling me you need to behave in this way in the real world in order to have enough of like this. And they were telling me this constantly in a way that made it clear that I really did need to do that. Um even though I saw no numbers tracking it, and several times I ran into potential companions and they were like, you're not experienced enough to join. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that means I'm not doing whatever your virtue is enough, somehow. But I don't know that I ever really locked into like exactly how that worked or where I was or what was going on with all of that. Yeah, it was like it's kind of, but I did have some sense that that was basically what I was supposed to be doing. But it's very I really have no idea of like how far along was I or how did I make any progress? Like I don't know. It's not clear at all.
Well, I mean, I did what you probably didn't, which is at a certain
Mhm.
point, I did just Google, like,
Yeah,
what the
no.
fuck are you supposed to do in this game? I looked
Mhm.
for tips. And I even at a certain point just literally looked at those values of, okay, this town has this in it.
Mhm.
This is how I raised that. Not that I was studying them to be like, okay, let me do this like a guide, but I at a certain point I did look at a general reference to just be like, okay, I have grounded myself in what this game even is doing because I didn't
Mhm.
know.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Uh
mean, I will say not doing that, I didn't mind that. Like, it did give me a sense of the sort of thing that I think if I hadn't played Ultima 1, it would bother me more, but I did, like, I didn't I did have some sense that I am not here to slay monsters and beat a boss, I am here to get good at these virtues somehow. The fact that I don't know how much progress I've made or even if I have made progress, like, at a certain point, I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's how Ultima works. It just feels like you haven't done anything." That's fine. And so it didn't bother me that much that I really didn't know if I was on track or if I was doing the right thing or not. Because it was like, yeah, I'll just see if I can make progress or not. I sort of have an idea of vaguely what I'm kind of supposed to do. I'll just wander around and do things and see if it works.
it is
See what
very
happens.
it's because it's so open.
Hmm.
Like you might go around, you might play this
Yeah.
game for like a dozen hours and
Hmm.
get all of your virtues up like 90% and feel like you've done nothing. And then without
Yeah.
knowing about it, play another 2 hours and complete all of them. Like
Yeah.
you might do every dungeon, or you might get all the virtues and not have gone into a dungeon at all. Like
Hmm.
it's so strange that way. It's very hard to judge exactly what your progress has been.
Yeah, it is interesting because that, I mean, that this is a game where you can do like everything in any order. So you can end up in this position where it's like, well, if I did 40% of every quest, right? And there are 100 quests, then I've done 40 quests. But actually, I've done 40% of every quest, so I've done 0 quests. That sort of thing, right? So it feels like I've done nothing. So that is the kind of thing that you can end up doing here.
Yeah, and also it's like, well, sometimes you don't even know what is the quest. Did I
Right.
do the
Yeah.
quest? Did I do that town? I guess I finished it, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, so going back to speaking to everybody in the town, because that's sort of relevant to what we're talking about here, because you were talking about you need to talk to everybody and exhaust all options. Um, but it's more than that. Other characters in this particular version will also unlock things to say sometimes. Like, you'll talk to them and they'll tell you a bunch of stuff, and then you'll go talk to somebody else and they'll be like, ask that character about, the rune. And by that character, I mean like a specific named child in a city halfway across the world. You better remember which child that was. And so like that was a thing where it was like I have not been writing down the names of every single person in every place or even the where I've been told to go. So there is just a lot of like if I specifically remember what I was told, I will go to this place, but there was a lot of just like, I am bouncing around the map, constantly wandering, just trying to figure things out. And, it's like, I feel like I have mantras, but no runes or whatever. And I'm supposed to go where? I don't know. Somebody's tells me something somewhere, but I probably have to talk to every single person on the map 10 times before I can make progress.
Yeah, I did take notes while I played this. Did you write anything down at all or no?
I wrote down the mantras, and when I started, I was writing down. I wrote down spell components from the magic book because I thought that
Mm.
that would be relatively useful.
Did you ever find
Um,
a place to buy spell
it
components?
took me a long time, but I did. But I never really got into using them.
Yeah.
Although I will say, I really like the magic system in this game. I would love to play farther and try to engage with it because it seems really cool. Um, we can
Yeah.
talk about that in
Yeah.
theory at some point, but I did eventually get that. But yes, mostly what I was writing down was just okay. These are when somebody teaches me a mantra, I'm writing it down, and outside of that, not really.
Yeah, what I did, so right at the beginning when you can talk to Lord British, you can
Hmm.
ask him about all this stuff to get you
Hmm.
going. And you can ask him about each individual virtue. And so the first thing I did was just wrote down the virtue, I wrote down the town that he said and like where he
Hmm.
said it is, just as a baseline. And then next in that same slot is where I would also write the mantras that you would learn. Because basically
Mm-hmm.
each city, I would say, like the components you need are: one, you need to find the rune stone; two, you need to learn the mantra; and three, like you need to learn where the shrine is to use the rune stone and the mantra.
Hmm.
And I guess four, you need to each city that represented by a virtue will have a companion for you to add to your party.
Hmm.
So I kind of felt like that's the checklist of like, okay, once I've done those things, I've like quote unquote completed that city. But other than just, I might still need to raise my virtue points. Even having all that info is not enough. But then
Mm.
if my virtue points are ready, then I go to the shrine and I can do the 3 cycles. I don't know. I think when you do 1 or 2, it also gives you a hint about what you're supposed to do to raise that virtue or something like that. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the point of doing the 1 or 2 cycles of meditation at the shrine. But that I had to find some random NPC that was hiding hours into the game who
Hmm.
finally said meditate for 3 cycles. And I was like, "Oh, that's what that is. Okay." Didn't know what the
Yeah,
fuck that
yeah.
was.
I don't know that I was. It was not as clear to me because there were towns that I just went through and I was like, I feel like I exhausted everything and I did not find like this I did not find like the rune, or I didn't find the mantra, or I don't see where the shrine is around here, so it was not clear to me that they would always be in the same place. And people sometimes said like go to another town to ask that person about whatever. So I did not play like I'm gonna stay in this city until I've exhausted everything. I was like, I'm gonna stay in this city until I've talked to everyone and gotten a general idea, and I think I've done everything. And if I don't have everything yet, then that's probably because I'm not supposed to. I'm going to move on. So, like I said, a lot of the way that I played this game was just roaming around the map, bouncing back and forth. Probably have to go everywhere 10 times.
Yeah, well, some cities don't have a virtue.
Yes,
So
that's
like
true.
like you
That
find
and they
yeah.
yeah. You can usually tell though. Like they're
Yeah.
very
Yes.
very like we are the city of whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, if King British will just tell
Yes.
you which ones they are. So you're like, oh, it's not one of those, so I
Yeah.
guess it's just a side place.
When he gave me that monologue, I was thinking I should write this down, but I wasn't ready to at that point, and I thought, well, I'm pretty sure everything he said is in the manual. So if I'm ever not sure, and also he's mostly telling me where cities are, so I could just like go around and see where all the cities are. So I was like, if I'm ever really totally lost, or I can't like read, or like the manual's not helping, I could come back here. But then I just kind of didn't do that. So
Yeah. I mean, and it's at first, it was hard to know what is worth writing down or not. And
right,
sometimes someone would be like, oh, the yellow stone is in Dungeon Despise. So I wrote that
yeah,
down. I have that as a note, but now in hindsight, I'm like, I don't think like eventually you just figure out, oh, pretty much each dungeon has one of these
yeah,
stones you're supposed to get.
yeah.
So
In
like,
theory, you just go to the dungeon and
right.
get the
Do I care which color is where? I don't think so. Not really. But then I have other things that seem very specific, like, oh, go to this place and ask about this thing. And I just never found that place. So I'm like, well, I didn't do that, so I don't
Mhm.
know. And like the whole thing with the seer Hawkwind, who is the guy who tells you about your
Yeah.
status and the
So
virtues.
so that is the thing that I actually when I said I forgot about that guy, I had in my mind, I was thinking like 5 people told me I should talk to Seer Hawkwind, and I have no clue who this guy is. I've never seen him before in my life. And right before we started this episode, I opened up the manual and just scrolled through it, and I was like, "Oh, Seer Hawkwind, the guy at Lord British. Oh, I should have gone back there, but I never did." Like it's so easy because you meet like 40 million people and they all have names like that. Like you would think that it's like, oh, Seer Hawkwind, that must be an important guy at an important place. But no, fucking you could walk like anywhere and just be all like, you meet a seer, name. I am Seer Hawkwind. Okay. Like every single NPC is like that. So you just
Yeah.
don't know.
If you talk to Lord British, there's a help option. And I
Mm.
think it's actually based on maybe your progress or your experience points. He'll give you different suggestions. And at one point, he was saying to me, "Oh, you got to talk to Seer Hawkwind." And I'm like, "Who the fuck? Where is that?" And I finally there was just a door in the castle.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't even try going in. There's the guy. There
Mm.
he does have like an important looking,
Yeah.
area, but you just
Yeah,
have
I
to
mean,
go
this
through a
is
door."
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem, is that I had the exact opposite problem. The first time I explored that castle, I was like, "Oh, I should go into the store and talk to that guy." And I talked to him, and because you start next to that castle, that means that was the first thing I did. And I wasn't told to go talk to him again until like at least 5 hours of play had gone by, and it wasn't the same day anymore, and I had met like 4 dozen people, and I was like, how am I supposed to remember?
All they had to do was add Seer Hawkwind in the castle.
Yeah,
That's all they
yeah.
needed to say. Like
Yeah, Lord Britain's seer.
right,
It'd be
something.
easy, yeah.
Give us like a little
British.
bit of a suggestion.
Right,
But they
right.
didn't do that. But that was, that was helpful-ish. Now, in terms of map exploration, let's just get into this.
Mhm,
I'm gonna kind of say my total progress that I made in this game.
mhm,
This is one of generally speaking, my track record on this show has been pretty good. I usually beat
mhm.
every game we talk about the week we play it, with some exceptions. And I did beat the first Ultima. I did not finish Ultima IV.
Mhm.
And, there are definitely times when I I felt like I was almost, I really felt like I had to push myself to play more of this game because I know we have fans of the Ultima series in the show, and I'm like, I have not given this a fair shot. I still don't really know what I'm doing, but it was hard because as I was playing, I was often just so lost and directionless.
Mhm.
And a part of it was at a certain point, I felt like I had just explored every, and this was me having Googled maps and looking at maps.
Mhm.
I was like, I have explored every town with a virtue that I can reasonably get to. Now, I never got a boat ever.
Mm. Okay.
I did not look in the manual or remember that it mentioned the pirate thing.
Okay. Okay.
So I never hit that point.
Okay, so I was gonna say almost certainly you got more progress than me still, but maybe I don't
And
know.
maybe, I mean, what's progress? Who knows?
You're right. Yeah, exactly.
Now, there is another method of traversing, which are these moon
Mhm.
gates.
Yes.
Everywhere you go, there will be a moon phase at the top of the screen, and in certain parts of the map, portals will appear. And depending on what time of day it is, they will take you to a new location. And I ended up randomly finding these a few times and
Mhm.
finding some cities where I could do some stuff in, but I never really understood how and where and when those things appeared. And so I never got to the point where I could be like, okay, so if I
Yeah.
want to go to this location, I go here at this time. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of cities and with virtues that I never encountered.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I used one of those twice. And the first time I used one, it brought me to I want to say it was Valor City, but like Jelum or
Vesper?
something.
Oh,
No.
Jellum is one,
May,
yeah.
I don't know. But it brought me to one
Oh yeah,
that
Valor.
you
Jellum is the city of Valor. Yes.
yeah, yeah, it brought me to one that I could not exit, period, without getting a ship, and I didn't know how to get a ship yet, and the gate disappeared on the other side, and I was like, "Help! What? Help! What? Help me!" And then I died, and then teleported back, and was like, "Well, not only was that a wash, but I left my horse on the other side, and I got to go get another horse."
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that'll
was I
happen.
was I was pretty fucking pissed. But then I got less pissed when I got my boat and I randomly stumbled upon that city sailing around and I was like, "Oh, I was supposed to get a boat."
Right. Yeah.
But
Well, now that I mean, I've just you saying, "Oh, you could get a boat from a random pirate
yeah.
ship." I'm like, "Holy shit, that would unlock so much
Yeah,
more of
right.
the game for me." That would be I would
Yeah.
like I could go back and play this for another 6 hours probably and
Yeah.
like it's crazy. Yeah, I ended up it was and it's more confusing cuz also like at first I don't really know what those portals are, and then later
Mhm.
I might take a break and come back to the game and be like, how did I get to that one city again? Like where was
Right.
that? I have no
You
oh, I went through a portal.
Yeah, you went through a portal, which is those portals, according to the manuals, appear and disappear according to the phases of the moon.
I
So they're
even
most of the time not there. But also,
I
as far as I am aware, there's no in-game way to track the phases of the moon.
well, no, there actually
Probably
does.
is.
There are literally moon phase symbols at the top of your screen
Oh
that
shit! No, you know what?
change.
You're right. I didn't even. I was just like not. There's too much shit. But you're right. You're right. There are. Yeah.
But I looked up. I was like, I just need to look up what this means. And even looking at a map and an explanation of
Mhm.
here's the moon phases, here's where they appear during that phase, I still
Mhm.
couldn't figure out how I was supposed to find them. I was just too stupid to get it.
Mm. I mean, I
Um,
liked the theory of them, but those felt like a when you once you've sunk 50 hours into this game, you can use these type of thing, right? Like not
yeah.
like a thing you're otherwise you're just stumbling through them and being like, "Whoa, here I am. I fell through a portal."
Yeah. So I did end up completing uh I got Avatar Hood in both compassion and justice, which means I maxed out those levels. I got the stone and the mantra, and I went to the shrine and meditated, and I was rewarded with avatarness in those. I got really close to also getting it in honor, but I think like I had all the components, but I didn't raise my points enough. And when I looked up how do I get more honor points, because at this stage I was just like, I don't know what to do, so please just tell me what I need to do so I can cross another thing off my list. The only thing I could see that was helpful that I hadn't done was it said to get complete quests and find items, which seemed to me to be like the stones in the dungeons.
Sure.
And that is where I tried going in a lot of these dungeons and just got lost and stuck and frustrated and was like, I think I've got what I need from this for now.
All right. So in some ways you got a lot more progress than me. So and maybe this is because I found the whole world and I was like, I better just go literally everywhere across like the map with the boat and everything. So my progress in this game is I feel like I did not fully literally explore every tile, but I feel like I have been to most every island or general area. I've been in I believe every city except there's one that's called a hidden city that I don't think
It's a
I
hidden
went to.
city.
Yes, 'tis a hidden city. And I ended up at the final thing. I had 4 total members in my party, but I found like 3 more guys who wouldn't join me.
I think it
um,
also might have to do with your level of whether or not they'll
mm,
join you.
that could be too. That could be too. Because I didn't like try to grind for level or anything like that. I was mostly just roaming around.
But I also
Um,
read that some people say, "Oh, you should only have like 3 party members until the end because the game will actually get harder and take longer to do all the fights if you have more party
mm,
members. So just
I
like
do
wait and
think
get them at the end."
I mean, the fights were harder. Like, there were more guys coming because I had more party members. But that being said, I did like having party members. I actually still thought it made the fights less annoying to have more party members. Um,
Yeah, I think
like,
there's a point
I kind
of
of enjoyed
I
them.
I think it's like past 3 or 4 there might be a breaking point where it starts
I
to
could
get
see
too
that.
annoying.
Yeah, because you do have to like direct every single person, and yeah, if you had like an 8-person party. But all of that being said, I never was able to enter a shrine. I actually never entered a shrine.
Wait,
Did
you
not
never
happen.
found a runestone?
Um, I don't think I did. If I did, then I didn't find the shrine for it or something. Because I did not find every shrine for every virtue, and I mostly wasn't finding runestones. But I did have a lot of mantras.
I did. The runestones were kind of one of my favorite parts because sometimes you talk to somebody and they'd be like, "Oh, there's like a hidden spot, and you have to choose the
Mhm.
search option in the town, and you'll find it." Or like a character might have it, and you have to learn that from someone else, and then go ask them about the rune. And I'd be like, "Oh, that's kind
Every
of cool." I felt
Every time
accomplished.
I did that, I would go they'd be like, "Ask this character about the rune," and I'd go there and they'd be like, "Go ask this other character about the rune," and then I'd go there and they'd be like, "Ask a third character about the rune," and then I'd go there and they'd be like, "You have to do a quest," and I'd be like, "I don't know what quest you're asking me to do," and that'd be the end of that.
The only time I think that happened, it was more straightforward. It was like he's right there. Oh yeah, he gave me the rune. I don't know.
Well, I
You went to more
might have
places than
gotten
me.
a rune. I don't know, but I did explore the map more, and I was at all of those places a bunch of times. Like I did go in circles a lot. So,
Yeah.
how
So
many
like I
party
said,
members did you have?
I had I think I maybe only had 2 other party members besides myself. Yes, because I
Okay.
only went to so here's the thing. So
Hmm.
I was a bard in my game. That based on
Same.
my answers. Okay, great. So because whatever each city has a different class member, and in Britain, the starting city, there's a bard. And so since I was
Hmm.
a bard, that bard doesn't join your party because
Yeah.
you're the bard.
Yeah, no, it was very funny. Like, first thing you do, you walk up to him and he's like, "I would join you." Oh, except I'm not going to do that.
Right.
He does say,
So
"I would join thee," though.
So because I never left the starting sort of continent, other than a couple times with portals where I didn't end up finding anyone, I only had access to 2 cities with party members you could recruit. So that's why I
Mm,
only got 2. I never was able to meet anyone
okay.
else.
Okay, so I got a third additional one and met a bunch of others who wouldn't join me.
And yeah, so let's talk about the combat.
Hmm.
I of course there's weapons and armor you can buy in each city, And what I eventually learned / also learned by reading online, because I, like I said, did look at people's
Mhm.
advice. Ranged weapons for a lot of this game are going to be your best friend.
Mhm.
And eventually I just equipped everybody with a bow. And from what I understand, until late in the game when you get access to really good magic weapons, mostly you want to just have everybody with a bow and arrow, and just that's basically it. Like that's
That
what you want.
that does follow. I mean, I was looking at what the recommendations were, and according to the manual, right? Like what is my favored weapon? And so I was running that. So I just had two ranged users and two melee users. Um and I mean, yeah, like I didn't mind. It wasn't a problem, really. But the ranged weapons are a big game. Like they do such a good job of being like, okay, let's just not have this combat happen. We should actually talk about what the combat mechanics are, because
Yeah.
these old school RPGs, right? Combat is all over the place for what the fuck it could look like.
Yeah, so you'll see enemies on the map or in a dungeon, and when they're next to you, you go into a separate battle screen, and it's almost like you would picture a strategy
Hmm.
RPG, like a Fire Emblem or something like that, where you have a grid and you all take turns either, and you either can move or attack, or you can use a spell or whatever on your character's turn. And so the reason ranged weapons are so powerful in this is because generally the monsters start on the opposite side of the map. And so because the bow can actually hit pretty much all the way across the map versus like the sling, which doesn't have as much distance, if everybody has a bow, you just get way more advanced. Even if they miss half their shots and it's not their best weapon, you're just going to get so many more hits in before they get to you that it's almost doesn't make sense
Hmm.
to have a melee weapon unless it's like the best melee weapon ever.
Hmm. Well, one thing that I was a little confused about, it seems like, and here's the problem, they don't show you like any numbers associated with this in any way. So you don't
Right.
know how much damage you're doing. You don't know, like, there is evasion. Like things will sometimes dodge your shots, or like they will miss you. So like I don't know what any of the stats are on this. So one thing that I had an idea that might be true, and it seemed like it could have been, but this also, I didn't take data, so this is could easily just be like I tricked myself into thinking it was true, is that ranged weapons weren't as good like when you were adjacent to one of these guys, like they were more likely to miss or something. Like you wanted to keep
Might be true.
range. Could be true, could be complete bullshit. Who knows? And so like that was a thing that I was doing, was being like my ranged characters will stay in the back and fire, and my melee characters will run up to the front. And the advantage of them being melee is that I want them absorbing damage because they got heavier armor. And so since I want them right next to the enemy, I want them using a melee weapon. But maybe that just doesn't matter, and I still wanted them using bows, and I'm like I don't know. They don't I do feel like it's not as bad here as it is in Final Fantasy, because so little, like, the combat doesn't really matter in this game the way that it does in Final Fantasy, and it's not particularly like you're not particularly likely to die of combat in this once you have an idea of what you're doing and you have a basic party with basic gear. It's very hard to die to combat, I think.
Hmm.
Um that was my experience anyway.
I'm
Uh
I mean, I'll tell you what I died to
mhm.
99% of the time.
I know what it is. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, it's poison.
It's fucking poison. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, before I left that continent, every single time I got poisoned for any reason, I would be out here and I'd be like, I should grind up some gold for the next so that I can upgrade my gear. I wish they told me the prices in the shop, because I don't know if I'm 10 gold short or 410 gold short. But I guess I can go back eventually. And then every single time I died, I'm just like, well, there's 300 gold down the, or I got poisoned for any reason. I'd be like, 300 gold down the drain, because you can't fucking cure it without magic ingredients, which you can't buy anywhere.
Yeah, so I've finally, because I was looking up like the
Hmm.
whole game, every town I'm in, I'm constantly going all the way around. Like, okay, so where's
Right.
the ingredient shop?
Yeah.
You got an inn, you got a
Yeah.
bar, you got a food. Okay, okay, no, not here, not here. Okay.
Can I just tell you the joy when you don't look it up and you don't know what's happening? You're just wandering around the islands and you walk into a town and you see a counter labeled herb. And I'm like, oh.
Well, I'll tell you, I even looked up. Someone was like, "Oh, go buy them in Paws, which is one of the
Wait,
closest
what?
towns you start
No
in,
way. Really?
right where you buy horses." Yeah,
I
and so I went there. I looked all around. I was like, I don't know what they're talking about. I can't find it. Oh, I looked it up further. There's a secret wall in one of the buildings. You have to go through a wall, and there's the merchant to buy the ingredients
That's
from.
great. That's so dumb. That's really obnoxious.
But the way
They could have
worded it,
just sold you fucking ginseng and
yeah,
and
garlic.
garlic. Yeah,
Yeah,
those are the two that you need for like awakening and cure. And if they just sold only those two, it would have been
it was
fine. And
insane.
even at a high price.
And all the people
Even
were
if
like,
you
"Oh,
can
you
find
buy
it.
them from Sheila." So I'm like asking everyone's name, like, who the fuck is
Who's
Sheila?
Sheila?
She's
Yeah.
behind a fucking wall.
That's-
And so when I finally did figure that out, I bought like their entire stock of. I've just made like 50 cures, and so that was finally when I felt the only time I felt safe traversing the map, because otherwise it was just inevitable. I'm gonna get poisoned, and if I can't make it back to a town in time, and some of the towns don't even have a guy who will heal you of your poison, so I'm just like, fuck, this isn't one of
Yeah.
the poison heal towns. I'm fucked.
You notice I said 300 gold down the drain, which is a revive, and not 200, which is a cure, because I was just like, if I got poisoned, I'm probably not making it back to a guy who will cure me in time.
Or a lot of the time, especially early game, it's just I just die because I'm like,
Yeah.
it will cost me more money to
Yeah.
pay to heal than it will to die.
Oh yeah. Early on, I would occasionally get trapped in those loops because I didn't know what to do or where to go, and I was like, the only thing I know to do is grind for better gear so I can explore better. And I would just end up in this position where I'd be like, well, I started off at this town with my horse and my food, and then I set off, and I died and reset to the beginning and went back to base gold and base food, and now I am going to have to rebuy my food and re-get my horse, and actually, I was better off when I started, literally reset. Like, I reset a lot of cycles when I was trying to grow. Like, my experience in this game was that effectively, until you've gotten your first setup of party members and gear, grinding is, like, basically impossible. It's just not a thing you should be doing, which is fine. Like, I don't mind not grinding. It's just that I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah, there are a couple of spots that are good for grinding, where like you
Mhm,
can get a bunch of monsters and they're close to town, so you can go heal and stuff if you need to. Which
mhm.
I did do a little bit at a certain point, just to kind of get everyone, just to get enough. Basically, I just got enough money to buy everybody a bow, and by the time I had bows and
Yeah.
cures, I felt like I'm okay.
Is it is it is it easier to camp out and rest near a town? Because I feel like it is. So there's you can go to an inn in a town to rest and heal, and you can go to a healer who you can pay to heal you. But another thing that you can do is you can just camp in the wild. And if it is successful, all your characters will restore some amount of health, right? They won't, I don't think they will heal any statuses, and they don't necessarily restore to full, but you can do this fairly regularly. The problem is that sometimes your rest will get interrupted by monsters, and so instead of sleeping, you will have a fight screen that happens while your characters slowly, one by one, wake up, so you don't even have access to all of them, and it's kind of a gigantic pain in the ass if it fails. But what I discovered is that it seems to fail a lot more when you are far from a town. If you do it right outside a town, it almost always works. So I almost never healed my health using any kind of services.
Interesting. Yeah, I found that I did not run into the monsters attacking me that much when I rested. I don't know if it was, maybe it was just where I was. I didn't notice
Y-
a difference.
Yeah, like it happened occasionally, but I'm pretty sure that it happened. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but I'm not positive that's what it is.
I
I also
definitely,
might have been doing it more. I don't know.
yeah, I feel like I abused it fairly regularly early on, but then there came a point towards the once I had like done most of what I felt like I could do other than go into dungeons, where I was like, well, you can't rest in a dungeon. So I'm
Hmm.
just like going in here with what I've got, and if I die, oh well, I'll just start over. Like who cares? Like
Hmm.
I didn't really feel like I needed money for anything, so I stopped worrying about it.
Hmm.
Once I like knew the lay of the land and everything. Let's go back to the combat itself. I will admit I guess I'm the one on this show who more often complains about turn-based combat being repetitive and tedious. It didn't here it's like fairly quick. It's not like a Final Fantasy where you have to go through and pick from a lot of different moves and spells. You can, I mean, you can get ingredients for spells and do them in battle, but I would mostly just kind of mash A and be like, hit this guy, hit that guy, hit that guy. They're all dead. I didn't find it super engaging, and maybe part of that is my problem that I didn't put as much into it. But sometimes it can be, sometimes your positioning will matter. There can be obstacles on the map. It does feel almost more like a dungeon crawl, like I said, like a SRPG, or even like a board game kind of, where there's a thing in your way and you got to get line of sight, that type of thing. Um, but there were also a lot of times on the world map where I was just like, oh my god, to get the fuck away from me. There were just so many enemies that I got so sick of killing. Versus Ultima 1, where you didn't go to a new screen, you actually just fought them where you were, which I found much less. It didn't feel like it was hindering me as much. I did get a little tired of all the combat in this game personally. I think I enjoyed the conversation parts much more than I did the combat.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree about the conversation thing, but the combat was kind of an in between for me. Like I did think that it was kind of fun and interesting. I do like menu based combat when it's very in depth, but I don't know that we've really seen that yet. Like it's good enough. But yeah, I mean, I did like the positioning well enough here. I did think that the combat was engaging enough to be relatively fun. I did like it. And it's not like you're constantly being attacked. As long as you have something like a horse to run around with, you are, able to you're able to avoid it a lot of the time. Like you can just move faster than
If
things
you
on
have
the
a
map.
horse, it's way better.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's the first thing I'm always doing if I lost
Yeah.
my horse, I'm buying a new one. I think you can steal one, but
Mhm.
I didn't quite get into that.
Yeah. You will lose virtue points, of
I'm sure you
course.
will lose virtue points for that, yes. Oh, actually, did you ever go into that stable
I
where the
did. Yeah,
horses
yeah,
are?
yes. Did you you mean with the
Yeah.
talking horse in it?
Yeah, yeah, you go up to, like, the stable girl, and she's all like, "Are you here to steal a horse?" And if you say no, she's like, "You must be here to see Smith, the talking horse," or whatever his name is. And
Yeah.
there's a horse, and he talks to you if you talk to him.
And he does not say anything helpful.
Nope, he's just there for you. Yeah. But back to the combat. Yeah, so I did find it kind of fun. That being said, it does take long enough to get through any given one, and you get little enough out of it in terms of experience and gold that it didn't really feel. I would not want to grind. It would get very tedious very fast if you didn't have an easy way to outrun and avoid most of these things, because as much fun as it is to kind of be like, oh, got to get line of sight here, let's target this enemy. Oh, that guy's running away, I don't need to deal with him. um it is also kind of like there's only so much to it before it's just not that interesting anymore, and then it's like it takes a long time. Even though it is very fast, as you said, every turn is very fast. But I have four characters each taking turns, and there
Yeah.
are maybe 10 enemies. It can take a while. Um, I think magic could help with that, but I didn't get to play around enough with like offensive uses of magic. The
I
mage
did not
wouldn't join my
either.
party. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, it is what it is. It was good enough. I didn't mind it.
Did you play around much in the dungeons themselves?
No, not really.
So the dungeons are where I kind of found my breaking point because, like I said, I felt like without knowing about how to get a boat or use the moon gates, since I had already done 2 of these 3 virtues, I felt like the only thing left for me to do was try to find the stones in these dungeons to get points.
Hmm.
And the dungeons are they're mazes. They have multiple floors and you don't know where the stone's going to be. Like I was
Hmm.
reading guides and it was like in this one it's on level 5, and this one it's on level 8. It's like it's just in a place in the dungeon. It's not like always get to the bottom and there's not a boss you have to beat. You just got to find it. And there's
Hmm.
also like bubbles you can find in there that will raise your stats. If a party member touches them, it'll be like +5 dexterity or whatever, which I think those respawn. So you can actually abuse those if you come back to the dungeon after you die and do them multiple times. But you have gems. You can buy gems, which will show you when you use them a map of where you are in the dungeon of the just the floor you're on and like show you where the doors are, but not where they lead. And you also can buy keys to open doors if you need them, and you can buy torches, which the dungeons are dark, so you have to have torches, or you have to later. Once I found ingredients, I was casting the light spell, which will light things up for you.
I thought.
But
Wait, where did you find ingredient? Oh, right, because of the
not
wall. Right, yeah,
right,
the
yes,
wall.
because of the
Yeah.
wall, the secret wall. And so I I just I made a what I feel is a good faith effort with like there's a couple of dungeons that are fairly close to your starting town. And I was like, okay, like these are here. Let me just I even looked at maps. I was looking at where the stones. I was like, let me just I got a decent party. I can go in there with my equipment and just eventually I'll keep going down until I find that stone. And I just never either I forgot to get food. I starved to death. Okay, this time I make sure I stock up on food. Oh, this enemy, there's just too many fights. They overwhelmed me. They killed me, whatever. Or I just got lost and there's just so many ladders and doorways. And also in the dungeons, sometimes normally when you go into a battle, it's like a complete separate instance, right? And then when it's finished, you're just back where you were. But in the dungeons, there are some rooms where you actually do have to like go left or right. Like once you finish with the combat, you're still in that room. And so sometimes I would like beat all these enemies, go left. Oh, it was a dead end, or this wasn't the way I wanted to go. Go back through that door. Now you're back, and all those enemies respawned again. So now I got to fight them all so that I can go right. Or I just try to, I'm like, fuck this, I don't want to fight them again. So I just run past them to try to avoid it. But then I take a bunch of hits, and my characters are dying. And I just burned out on it and was like, fucking, I think I'm at a point where I feel like I want to play more of this game to experience it, but I don't know if playing more will help me lock in to liking it more, or if I'm going to keep playing and I will just get so miserable that I hate this game more. It's like I did hit a sort of wall at this point but I feel like I experienced for the most part the game loop, the things you need to do. Like I got a few of those. There's a lot of end game stuff where it's like, oh, you need to get these 3 special things to do the principles of truth, love, and courage and find the codex and get all the party members and that kind of thing that I did not accomplish, obviously. But I feel like I kind of got the idea of the game. Like I experienced the fundamental loop of it. And by the time I got to the dungeon combat part of the loop, I just really wasn't enjoying that component of it. So I stopped.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, you're a lot more on board with the sort of progress that I normally make in these games. But I
I
mean,
felt
that's
like
fine
you.
because
I
that is
really
good
did
enough.
feel like I felt like this must be how he feels about so many games we play.
Yeah, I mean, I once again, I think I just have similar missed problems here because the main reason I didn't engage with the dungeons is that I found like 1 or maybe 2, and I was just like, I'm just like, even though I roamed around everywhere and I'm in and out of all the towns, and I found decent number of shrines, I was like, I don't really know where these dungeons like are. I'm just not seeing them. And like popping in and out of the one was like, okay, yeah, sure, this is here. I could work on this at some point if I wanted to, but also because I know what Ultima is, I also know that I don't really have to do this dungeon. So I can just be like, if I'm not finding dungeons, that's fine. Right, that's fine. Who cares? I don't need to be doing that. That's not important. Like it could be important. Well, it's important eventually, but it's not like what's important is whatever I do next. Um, so yeah, for me, because I'm like not getting into these shrines or these dungeons, yeah, the gameplay loop was mostly exploration and talking to characters. Um, but it was very much just roam around the map, occasionally get into combat, and then talk to everybody you see, and then go back and talk to other people again, and go back and forth. And honestly, I didn't mind that too much. I do like roaming around a big giant open world, and I do appreciate the fact that as much as I was complaining earlier that every fucking guy in the entire world is Seer Hawkwind, so how the hell do you know that one's important? I do actually kind of like that. I like that every guy you go up to is there's a fucking bard called Lil Jon, and I was like, I'm dying right now. How did you do this in 1985?
I did
um,
find there's very much some dork
oh
humor in
yeah,
this
there
game.
is.
There's a fucking Dr. Jones who talks
Mhm.
about how he's trying to find the Holy Grail with his son.
Were
There's
you
yeah,
in the area where you find the rangers who are all like, "I'm looking for
yes.
home"?
I
Yeah.
literally that's what I was about to say. Yes, they're like, "Oh, where's home on the range?" I was like, "Oh my god,
Mhm.
this fucking nerd Lord British. I want to punch this guy into a locker so bad.
Yeah,
He
but I
needs
but
a
I mean,
wedgie."
I do like that you walk up to any random character and it's all like, "My name's Tristan. I'm a kid. What's your job?" "I don't have a job. I just play." And it's like but
Yes.
like they all say different things and they all have different names. I enjoyed that. I thought that was great.
I mean, especially for the time, you
Mhm.
consider the sheer volume of NPCs you can talk to in this game, even though most of what they say is one sentence and
Yeah.
half the options probably don't matter.
Mhm.
It feels like, oh, wow, there's so much world here to explore. And remembering this is 1985, so we're pre Dragon Quest and we're pre Final Fantasy. Like this is all pretty revolutionary for the time.
Mhm.
And not just in that way, but also in the way that, again, you're not trying to kill a guy in this game. It's not Ganon
Right.
is taking over. It's not whatever. Your goal is just to talk to people and better yourself as a person, which is pretty remarkable. That's something that most games, even today, don't
Mhm.
do. Like, that's
Yeah,
pretty unique.
and I do really like that. Like not only that that is the case, but that that is so obviously the case throughout the whole game. Like they start off by telling you in the manual they tell you there isn't an evil wizard anymore, right? Like that was what we were doing. That's not there anymore. Lord British starts off by telling you there's no evil bad guy and nowhere you go, like you might expect that as you're wandering around eventually so there's going to be some, well, something suspicious was happening over there. No, never happens. It's just people being all like, do you try to live an honorable life? You should always try to do that. And here's how you might do that. Um, and so there's something very pure about that in an open world sense. I guess I don't mean like ethically pure. I mean like structurally pure, right? Like, you know, okay, I've got an open world. I can go anywhere and do whatever I want. But fundamentally, I am supposed to be beating this bad guy, which means like getting these things and doing this quest and killing his minion and then finding out like in the original Ultima, you are eventually completing this like very strict storyline. There's something a lot more freeform about like, yeah, it's open so you can do whatever you want. So the ultimate goal is to like become the ultimate version of yourself. Right? It's not to complete a structured storyline,
Yeah.
and conclude it.
In a way, it kind of lays the groundwork for many of my favorite kinds of games that follow. Just basically any game that's not strictly about combat. And like the adventure games, narrative games, things like that. And maybe that's part of my frustration with the combat in this game is it feels almost like you were so close to really changing things, but then at the end of the day, I still got to have a party of guys with weapons and armor, and I still got to do the dungeon thing and fight the monsters. And it almost feels
Mhm.
like there should be a way to circumvent that as a player. And I think this is also a personal thing because I even feel that like in Dungeons and Dragons tabletop, I'm much more excited by the role playing element, and then the combat stuff. I'm kind of like, all right, this is taking forever, and I don't really care. I am more drawn to the role playing parts, and this game is, especially for the time, pretty damn close to just being a pure role playing without the combat. Which is
Yeah,
yeah.
so I do feel everything you're saying. The one thing, so I'm curious because the sense that I got without looking anything up is that you do have to win a number of these fights, or at least not run from too many of them in order to get like valor or something like that.
Yes,
Um,
there's also certain enemies that are considered not evil, and you're supposed to not
mm,
you can run away from them or let them run away, and it's okay. And I think if you kill an enemy running away, it's actually bad.
Okay. Yeah, because I will say I did sometimes. They told you about like evil monsters and non-evil monsters, but the only time I saw non-evil things was like I was in a city and I got attacked by a bunch of guards, and I was like, "Oh, I'll kill all these guards," and then they were like, "Don't kill non-evil things," and I was like, "Oh, that was probably really bad to do that." Um, so then I ran from them, but like
Yeah,
other
there's
than that,
like
it was all like orcs and hill giants and krakens. I feel like those are probably evil,
I think it's
maybe.
more when
I
you
don't
go
know.
into the dungeons. There's like,
Mm.
because I literally looked up a chart because I was like, I don't know what the fuck, like spiders and rats and some stuff like that. They're like, that's not evil, or like even though
Spiders
they'll
aren't
attack
evil?
you, not in this
Okay,
game.
that is a crazy thing for a fantasy world to do. I'm not like opposed to it, but like you got that is they better tell you that somewhere because if you drop me in a fantasy world and be like there are evil creatures and there are non-evil creatures and be very careful to treat them appropriately and then you get attacked by a giant spider, y- there
Giant
is no
spider,
way in the
non-evil.
world. Like
Uh,
in Tolkien, this is like the evil. Like this is like primordial evil. This isn't even like Satan evil. Satan is like a being who does evil works. Like the actual concept of evil itself is the spider in Lord of the Rings.
Also, not evil: pythons, bats, insects, bulls, and horses,
Uh,
and
I mean,
seahorses are not evil.
I assumed bowls was the case. I did try. I think one time I killed a bull, but then I stopped doing that.
I did kill a bull because there was a kid who was like, "This bull is scaring me,"
Yeah, yeah. I
and then I
think that was
got
the one I
near it
killed. Yeah.
and fought it, and I was like, "Oh!" And then all the guards started attacking me because I'm like, "I
Oh,
guess I killed a
that must be
bull."
why they attacked me. I wasn't sure
Yeah.
why they. I was like, "Am I in the wrong spot? I'm not going to go over there anymore."
Yeah, I was like, I was saving a kid. What the
Yeah.
fuck? Leave me alone.
Um, but yeah, I think where I was going with it originally, before we got all sidetracked on non-evil creatures,
Yeah.
is that I don't necessarily mind the combat element because I do kind of appreciate the idea that listen, valor is a virtue, and in order to get valor, you're going to have to go into battle and show your valor. But I do wish that it was a little bit more like you literally do not have to fight except to get your valor. You can always choose to fight, and you're going to have to do it eventually if you want to have valor as one of your virtues, which you eventually will. But you literally don't have to do it for any other reason. And it is a
Yes.
little bit like sometimes you just have to do it, and it's like, I wish I could have more opportunity to not
It
do it.
it feels to me like it is there because this is an RPG, so you have to have it. It doesn't feel like as intentional a part of the ethos of this game the way many of the other parts do.
Mhm.
At least the way that
D-
it's there.
does that does that make sense though in the way of like because you are in an RPG-esque world, because you are in a world that's coming out of an era of darkness, there is still fighting around, and so you like you have to do it because you have to do it. You have to have virtue with regard to it because you have to.
I think it
Um
makes some sense.
like it's
Yeah.
not I do hear what you're saying though, that
I
like
just don't know that but you have to go into like
yeah.
12 dungeons.
Yeah,
You
and there
know?
are yeah, and there was a part in this game where I was able to say, I have no idea what to do next because I'm stuck on this island and I don't know, or this continent, and I don't know where to go or what to do. So maybe I'll just try to grind combat to go get gear. And
Yeah.
that didn't really work. But the fact that it was something that I obviously could try to do, maybe it should have been very not obvious that um like you were saying, you don't care about that much about gold, and that is basically true. But like, imagine if you just didn't get, you got like, you got experience from combat that increased your stats that only matter in combat, and then gold you
Mm.
just don't get from combat, right? If I want to go buy stuff at the shop, I got to do non-combat things, right? That because then it would be very self-contained. Because here it is kind of like, well, but what if I accidentally step in a swamp and want to buy a cure? Or like, what if I want to go buy some magic items? Well, I'm gonna need money, and to get that money, I'm gonna either need to steal from people or kill goblins. And killing goblins is valorous, and stealing from people is not. So,
Yeah, I guess I want more of like a Fallout kind of thing where you can, oh, I could like just put all my points into conversation and
mhm.
not be a fighting guy if I want to. But you can't
just
really
have
do that in this game.
Just have the NPCs give you quests, and that's how you make money. Even
Yeah.
repeatable ones. Just be like, instead of going out and grinding orcs for gold,
Yeah.
just be like, I have to go out to the meadow and pick flowers and bring them back to the flower shop for gold or something. I don't know, whatever.
Sure, sure. But look, again,
You get the idea.
like this is all in hindsight, but at the
Hmm.
time, there was
Yeah,
still it was a pretty big leap forward.
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
What do you think? What else do we need to say, or could we get to final thoughts?
Um, I have a couple other things to say, but I think they could go in final thoughts.
Well, then let's say them right now, and then when you're done, you can give this game your IGN rating.
All right, my IGN rating. Um, okay, so this game, there are a lot of similarities with the original Ultima, and things that I did like with the original Ultima, in the fact that it's very open. You can go anywhere. It does have that confusing beginning of the game. You kind of got to get over. I'm dying all the time because I don't know how to do anything. I have no idea where to go. Um, I have no idea what to do. It would have been, and all of that information was there, but it's all dumped on you at once. Like, it might have been nice to just have a guy say the nearest towns are this and this or something, as opposed to here are where all of the places in the entire world are. Good luck. Go out and find one. Just a little bit, just to get you over the starting hump. But once you get an idea of kind of what the gameplay loop is going to be, you've got some basic gear, you've got a basic part, you've got sort of an outline of where the places are, you feel comfortable wandering around the game world, and saying like, I don't always need to return to home base or I'm lost, it's fine. um, the act of wandering around the map is fun, right? Even though a lot of what I was doing was just go back and forth between all the towns and talk to all the people and see if I can find a guy that's updated or something like that, I did find that enjoyable. I love the personality that all the NPCs have. I do think it adds something that we have to ask. Like, I think in a modern game, I'm saying they all have their name and they all have their individual dialogue, and in a modern game that would be the case, but they would have like a dialogue box. They wouldn't have like a, you have to ask them general questions to get specific information to get their specific dialogue. It feels like a conversation. Um that's all really nice. That being said, there is still a little bit of a lack of sense of place in the game. The way that I had an issue with the initial Ultima. There's a little bit done to fix this, but it's mostly done by way of manual, where you might say like, "Oh, this forest has a name, and this mountain range has a name, and this giant plains have a name." And the way that I know them is that in the manual it tells me the names of all the important places, and I kind of had to use that to figure out where to go, so I have some sense of it. But if I'm just looking at the map, I don't really have a way to differentiate this forest from that forest, or this plains from that plains, or this mountain range from that mountain range, if I haven't been to them 50 times and just know them by shape. Which is the thing that Zelda does very well. So it doesn't have that level of wandering around the map thing going on for it. It could have done with just like a road or two, or maybe an outpost with like a traveler who says, "You're in the field of spilled blood," or whatever. Want to know the history of this place? Um, just to give you more of that sense, or maybe different color palettes. I think we suggested last time.
Mm.
Um, but all that to be said, I did find the general gameplay loop quite fun. I like the fact that it's so open. I like the fact that you don't have to do a final boss. I think that's really cool. The idea that you're just trying to better yourself. Even though I didn't engage with it, reading about the magic system was actually pretty cool. I like how it's laid out. There's a logic to the way that the components combine and what they mean, so that you can sort of make sense of why spells take the components they take, which I think is really cool. You don't see that much in video games. Um, there's there's a structure to the way that all of the virtues work. I On the Wikipedia, I found this neat little um I don't even know this construct. It's like not quite, but almost a six-pointed star with like in what do you call them? Basically embedded circles. That's not quite the
I
term,
don't
but
know what the fuck you're
in
talking about.
inscribed circles. Yeah, they're all inscribed within a circle. There's inscribed circles within them that relate all of the virtues to each other in a way that has like
Like a
these
Venn
interesting
diagram?
patterns to it. Here, I will give you it, and you can see kind of what I'm talking about. Where are you? Because I was
Sending
looking at
me.
this sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Venn diagram, but there's
Mm,
sure, I'll put it in the video. I don't know what the fuck you call this.
yeah. But it is interesting. Like you can see like these constructs where you see like, oh well, love here is adjacent to justice, compassion, and sacrifice, but not valor, honor, and honesty. And so truth, love, and courage all have like three each of the like virtues next to them, and all the virtues are bound in humility, and spirituality is adjacent to truth, love, and courage. Like there's a neat little it's like a little bit of like fake sacred geometry. I mean, all sacred geometry is fake, hot take. But
Whoa.
like thing going on. Like it's fun. I think it's cool. I like it. There's a lot going on with this game in the lore and the construction that's fun. And that does reflect back on the fact that you even get a manual with it. I could see this being the kind of game that if I had this game and I had a real book that I just come back to every once in a while and run around in circles until I got all the way through. Um, all of that to say,
Jesus.
I do I like this game better than the first Ultima. I like it significantly more than the first Ultima. I still don't know that it's great. Like truly great in the sense that like maybe one like I don't know, it doesn't give me this drive to wander around forever like inherent to it the way that like a Zelda does or something like that. Um but I still like it. I am going to give, let me think here because I don't know.
Take your time.
Yeah, I'm going to give Ultima 4 and let's say an 8.3 out of 10.
Wow. It's quite a good score. It's quite a good score.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll even give it a continue. This is a game that I would
Oh,
not mind wandering around more in. Uh
right. Because of course we always say whether or not it's a game
right, of
over or
course. We always
continue.
do. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
always remember
Yeah.
to say that.
Maybe I'll even wander around in it on stream if we get enough Ultima fans clamoring for Ultima content.
This is I find this a very difficult game to rate personally.
Mhm.
And maybe it is because I am used to finishing the games we play every week, whereas you're not.
Mhm.
So I feel like I'm in an awkward position where I don't know that I have a full picture of this game personally. And I also feel like I'm in an awkward position because I do know that we have a contingent of diehard Ultima fans who listen to the show. And a lot of Ultima fans, I shared this on the Ultima Reddit, really liked our first Ultima episode and were excited to talk about it. And Ultima 4 is, generally speaking, if you ask which Ultima game should I play, people will often say, just start with 4. Like that's the one to play
I'm
first.
gonna cut you off right here and say that our Wii's skyrocketed in engagement when I trashed Mist. So you just go ahead and give this a 2, and that'll get them, that'll get them pouring in. That'll get us all
Yeah.
the Ultima fans.
I think it's too late for that. If I wanted to play heal, I should have started a lot earlier. But so I'm looking at this game and I'm really thinking, on paper, it does a lot of things better than the first Ultima. It is, as we said, truly, I think, revolutionary for RPGs. The way that it approaches the gameplay, the conversation elements with the NPCs, just the general tone and objective of the game. Very unique, very different from what you would typically see at the time, and even for years going forward, even to now. And so I really respect that, and in many ways, I'm excited about that. I like that. I think that's cool. It feels like this is where the Ultima series, the sense that I get is this is where it kind of really finds its identity, and that going forward, there is a lot more, the whole idea of the avatar is very important, and the idea of virtues and talking conversations becomes more prevalent versus the more old school dungeon monster boss fight. So I like all that stuff. There's a lot of stuff to like here, but I'm looking at it and I go, well, for as primitive as Ultima was and for all of its flaws, for whatever reason, I felt compelled enough to finish that game. And maybe because it was simpler and shorter, so it was just simply easier for me to accomplish. Whereas here, there truly were multiple points where I was like, I gotta give this game another fair shake. I gotta play more because I feel like I don't even know what I'm doing yet. And there were times when I really felt like I had to force myself to do it, that I just wasn't in the mood. Again, shingles. but even that aside, I was kind of like, why am I not feeling this game? And it just feels like maybe there are parts that just are dated and that for the time, wow, all this stuff was really cool at the time, but now is not working for me. And usually I'm the guy who I'm okay with that. I'm really willing to put myself in the old headspace and accept it. And I don't know if it's because we've just been playing a lot of like more relatively current games, Link to the Past, Myst, Mega Man 2, Monkey Island, things that are more guided and don't require you to read a book. And maybe going back to this old school mindset, I was just rusty and not prepared to embrace that. Because even when I had the same thought of you, I was like, oh, maybe I'll still, like, this is something we could stream and I'll still finish this game. But then I'm just grinding in these dungeons and I'm like, I really don't find this fun. I just really don't find this dungeon part of the game fun at all. And I don't think it would be fun to see me walk into room after room and groan when I see a wall of enemies, because I just don't want to have to fucking go, they're dead. Next room. Like, it's just so uninteresting to me. But I feel bad because people are like, this is supposed to be this is maybe not everyone's favorite Ultimate game. I feel like that's probably like, I don't know, a lot of people like 5, 6, 7, or even Underworld is one that people like. I don't think it's supposed to be the best one, but it's supposed to be like people were all excited. Like, oh, if you liked Ultima 1, you're going to fucking love Ultima 4. And I didn't feel that, like, you gave it a point 7 or 8 bump. And I'm like, nah, I'm not there. I'm struggling with, do I put this higher or lower than Ultima 1? Which sucks. I don't feel good about it. I feel bad about it, but I can't. I think I'm just gonna keep it the same score I gave Ultima 1, which is a 7.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If I had not gotten the ship, I think that that gave me so much more freedom to roam around and talk to more people. I do think my score would have been significantly lower.
I wonder, yeah, this is one of those things where it's like, oh, you didn't see the door on the map. And
I mean, to
maybe
be fair, literally, it happened to be to me by mistake. Literally, I was just walking along the coast and got attacked by pirates and had to win. And then I was like, wait, there's a boat now.
but
Like so.
I also can't say that I didn't feel this fatigue starting to set in even before I had exhausted those first towns that I had access to. It wasn't only towards the end. There was definitely a point where I just kind of felt like, I've experienced it. And I think forcing myself to play more is just going to make things worse. So I stopped. I don't know. I
Yeah,
feel,
I mean,
I don't know. I'm dismayed. I'm a little
that's
dismayed.
that's fair enough. I mean, yes, the main reason that opening up the ocean was interesting to me is because the things that I liked about this game were roaming and talking to people. So having a bunch more towns to talk to people in and a bunch more space to roam was good. And I do agree. I was not particularly interested in like forcing my way through dungeons or doing all the combat and stuff. Um, but yeah, so I don't if that's kind of the thing. If you were getting bored with that early, then I don't know if that would have helped.
Yeah.
Although I am still intrigued by this magic system. It'd be fun to play around with, but I don't know how necessary it is.
Yeah, if I had
Um,
found more towns, I mean, I would have done all those towns. I probably would have
mhm,
saved dungeons for like much later.
mhm,
So,
mhm,
yeah, I probably would have got, but also at the same time, I don't feel like I'm missing anything in terms of like, I know what I'm going to do in those towns. You know what I mean? Like,
mhm.
I
Yes,
get
yes.
the loop of talk to all these guys until they tell you the clues to do the thing. Like, I get it. It's not like I
Yeah.
missed something.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I don't think you are missing it. It's so interesting, because yeah, like now you really do see kind of how I'm assessing games, where I'm saying like I've gotten all the base components. I didn't do all of it, but I did the base components.
Yeah. I don't, and I wonder would I have a different take on this game if we had just not played Ultima 1 at all. If in season 1 we just played
Mm.
Ultima 4 instead.
I think I would have had a much worse time with this game because that initial like, oh my god, what do I do would have probably just destroyed me had I not
Mm.
been able to. And also the idea of like I I feel like I made zero progress in this game would have bothered me a lot more if I wasn't like, yeah, that's just how it feels in Ultima. I don't know, it's fine.
Mm. Yeah. Well, now I wonder. I'm sure we're gonna get feedback. I know. I want to hear what Ultima
Mhm.
people think about this. But like when I'm looking at what Ultima's to play through, a lot of people will say, "Oh, you got to play like 4 or 5. Once you start playing 4, 5, 6, 7, they all are related in terms of the story. And so if you want to get the most out of
Mm.
7, you really need to have played 5 and 6 to know what's going on." And I'm kind of like, "Oh my god! Like, do we maybe play some of those in our own time or stream them and then like do an episode on 7? Is it worth doing a full episode on each of these Ultimas? Are they different enough? And for myself personally, are they really that important? Like, because Ultima 4, I don't know that it kind of has a story, but it's not like, oh boy, I'm going to
Mhm.
really remember the names of these characters and care about their journey going forward. Like the story is just, you got all the Avatar stuff. You did it.
Mhm.
Is that how is Ultima 5 and 6? Are how much more in depth and involved are those narratives going to get? Is it worth
Yeah. It
me going back there?
it almost makes me think that what is meant by that is that like fundamentally the idea of what the gameplay loop even could be doesn't make sense unless you understand the lore of this game. Like we're not like you need to know about the virtues, you need to know about all of these things, and if you don't, we're not going to explain them to you and the game won't make sense. But if you do, then oh boy howdy is it really cool. That's almost how it feels because you are right. There's not from what I have seen in this game there's very little in the way of like story exactly.
Yeah, it's the story of your journey. It's the same thing as if
Yeah.
your journey was fighting monsters and killing a boss. Like it's that level of, yeah, you did a thing, like a thing happened. You became the
Mm.
avatar, but like, who are you? How did you feel about it? None of
Mhm.
that comes into play.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. I also do wonder if maybe you'd be less aggravated by the monsters if you could be playing on stream and you could say, "Fuck this, I don't want to fight him. Switch off. Will you have to fight him?" And I'd be like, all right, I'll fight this wave. You can just stand there and yell at me or whatever."
We just tag team it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what people want to see. I mean, between the two of us, we did have a complete experience of this game almost.
Right. Yeah.
Two heads better than one. Well, this is what we thought about that game, but I think it's worth seeing what reviewers had to say at the time in 1985.
Mhm. Agreed.
So let's return to Retro Review Corner. I have some ancient reviews here, beginning with one from Computer Gaming World magazine from a reviewer who went by the name of Scorpia, who was apparently a fairly well-known, like prominent computer game reviewer back in the day. Scorpia.
I mean, that's a gamer name right
Yeah.
there.
She
That
was a
would have been
huge fan
gamer
of this
tag
game.
in a later era. Yeah.
Huge fan. She really had a lot. There's a lot of quotes. If you look at Wikipedia, like there's many interviews she's done over the years. Like people cared that she loved Ultima. And I'm just going to read some of the end of this where she talks about her kind of critiques of it. She says, "If any fault could be found in this incredible game," and this is similar to what I thought, she said, "it would be in the fact that experience is gained only from combat. And in the later stages of the adventure, this tends to become a little tedious. Since the major theme of the game is the development of your character's virtues, it might have been a good idea to allow experience to be granted for accomplishing certain tasks, as well as vanquishing monsters, at least insofar as the major character is concerned. Still, this is a relatively minor quibble, since there are ways to avoid excessive fighting with the Moongate spell, and the game design and execution overall simply dwarfs petty complaints." Also mentions the game comes on 2 double-sided discs, along with 2 manuals, command card, and a beautiful and useful cloth map. Single or dual drives are supported. 2 drives are recommended. A minimum of
Wow.
64K is required to run the program. Bottom line, what are you waiting for? This will be a classic. Go get it. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does, because that, I think you did say exactly that about the combat, and I said something similar, but with gold instead of experience. Maybe in part because I was like, I don't even know why you need experience except to have better stats in combat. But
I think, and maybe the party members, yeah.
yeah, but like the party, oh yeah, I guess to unlock party members.
To
Because
beat
I
the
didn't
game,
realize
you do need all of them.
Because I didn't realize you had to be a level, and I'm still sort of
Yeah.
in my brain under the assumption that I need a higher unquantified virtue.
I only know that because I
Right.
read it online, so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. But yeah, generally agree with the majority of that, yeah.
Here's a review specifically from EGM of the version we played, the Sega Master System version, which I think didn't come out until like 1990, but again, graphically and mechanically very similar to the original. But I just thought it was funny because I feel like we've seen this before with these magazines that are more focused on console games where people just don't like RPGs. One guy gave it a 5 and said, "Like most RPGs, once you've built up a sufficient party of adventurers with good backgrounds, fighting your way through the villages and dungeons becomes much more palatable. Not exciting at all, but RPG fans who need a long adventure on the 8-bit should be happy. Personally, I'd pass."
This guy who's like, yeah, it's not too hard or interesting to do all the combat in this game. Yeah, because the other person's like, boy, this game. The problem with this game is that sometimes you have to do combat, but you don't really.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's just like completely failing to engage with the.
Another person gave it a 7 and said, "Fits the niche for players who have been waiting for a new RPG. While this game offers little in terms of intense action, the puzzles and sheer size of the play environment guarantees a lot of exploring. The character generation is well done, and the battery backup is a welcome necessity." That's half the review is just about, it's nice it has this
Technical
battery.
specs. Yeah, I mean, the map is kind of huge for 1985. Like it feels it feels big-ish, but like I have been playing in the Final Fantasies now, so it's like, yeah, but you know, it's not that
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
Um, oh yeah, and the other thing, now I'm remembering the other thing from the Scorpia's review with the Moongate spell. I, that is one of those you've spent too many hours in this game to review it for a new player thing. Like, yeah, I read about the Moongate spell in the manual. Like, I feel like that is one that's going to require you to know how to use those Moongate portals or whatever. No, you cannot just easily avoid combat by using this spell. Not until you've played so many hours of this game that you understand what that even fucking means, which is going to require some combat.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also, by the way, most of that review reads more like a walkthrough than a review. Like it's just so much a
Mm.
description of what you
Mhm.
do and how it works that I almost maybe you should read this review before playing the game.
Mm.
I also had a review from another EGM of the NES version, which, like I said, is very different. Like graphically, it looks different. It feels more like a from the ground up adaptation than just a port. And mostly I just thought this was funny because once again, there's a guy who gave it a 6 and said, slightly better than most role playing games, with a little more action in the fight scenes. If you really get into these types of quest adventures where you barely move very far before being confronted by weird creatures, then you'll love this. They're just so dismissive. There's like
Yeah.
people who aren't computer gamers basically just have so much disdain for RPGs. It's so funny. All right. That's about all I have for Retro Review Corner. Not too much in the way of player mail this week. Definitely a minor mail opening.
Mm.
People, I will say this: there was a very, I'll just say a mixed response to my new idea for a new character, Barack Obama.
Oh yeah, not a positive one though.
Well, I would say
Maybe it was
mixed.
mixed between like ecstatic and just happy. Maybe.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some people said, some people really liked it. I got a lot of like,
Uh-huh.
oh, you're a shoe in for SNL next season if you audition with that.
Right.
Although there's concerns about possible blackface, but they said this is
Well, this is
really funny.
Barack Obama. He's what you
Right.
call it? What the fuck are
He's a
Baracas?
Tortarkin or something.
Yeah.
he's a Katarkin.
Yeah.
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 But Solomon, still the best, said, your missed review was so good I subscribed last week. Your Barack Obama joke was so bad I unsubscribed this week. But then they said, I finished the podcast and I'm dying to hear how your Claire Obscure playthrough goes. So I'll consider staying subscribed if you keep us updated. I mentioned I was playing
Whoa.
Claire Obscure. I don't really know what to. I just finished Act 1 of the game, and I was doing some beach party shenanigans. And then I got sidetracked by Ultima 4 and Shingles, so I
Yeah.
haven't gone back to it in a minute. But I was enjoying it. So I don't know. I don't know what updates I can give for that game. It's like a fairly linear RPG, but I don't know. It's fun. I'll
Act
let you
one in
know.
Beach Party and Shingles. That's updates.
Yeah. Beach party shit it's like these mini games that are really hard. They're
Mm.
kind of annoying. They're
Like
optional.
like volleyball or
Yeah. Well, it was volleyball, except that it like explodes, like sinks your little dock. And you can get costumes. You can dress up your characters in bathing suits if you do the volleyball mini game.
Mm.
And you know me, that's what I'm all about.
Right, yeah, of course, yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. Let's see. ISES T-Rex. I don't know how the fuck to say this name. ISES T-Rex. IS is
I'm just
ES.
expecting you to like accidentally stumble onto something really bad here, and I can't figure out what it is.
Well, they said it was great to hear more discussion on Myst. They said Riven is a classic and well-made game that somebody better play it. Kind of surprised John hasn't played already, given his love for the original Myst. And they said they subscribed and they like the show. That's nice. Thanks.
Thank you.
A couple people were saying, hey, I think Shingles was just an excuse that you really wanted to play more Ultima 4 because of how much you liked it. That's what Avatar Protocol said. And Steve P said dealing with Shingles must have been very good for your humility. So, we've got some Ultima fans out there. And again, I would encourage you, if you are an Ultima player, comment on YouTube or email us, badwithgamespodcast@gmail.com. Let us know. I really want to know, are you sympathetic to what I said? Because I feel, I'm torn on this one, much like Natalie and Brulia. And I would love to hear, how do you feel about it? Is there something I did wrong? Is there something we should do going forward? Should we stream these games? Should we play 5, 6, and 7 and Underground it's fucking Underworld, I think. I keep saying Underground. What do we do? We need more guidance from you. Please write in.
Just like within the Ultima games. This is why they're not telling us, right? They're Ultima players. They're like, no, you should have no fucking clue.
Ice Ifrit Gaming did say, skip to Underworld. It's the only one that matters. So I'm like, I don't know what to believe. Let us know. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/badwithgames. $5 a month. You get our Discord channel. Sometimes you get early access to videos. You also get bonus audio episodes every week about other topics. Last week we discussed Rage Against the Machine. That was a fun episode.
Yeah, that was cool.
And this week we're going to be talking about the classic 90s kids game show, Nick Arcade. Pretty excited to talk about that one. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And next week on the main show, taking it back to a simpler place, a game that does not require you to read a book. We will be playing the sequel to the original Metroid, but this time it's on the Game Boy. Metroid 2, Return of Samus.
Really excited for some shafts. Some vertical shafts. I hope there's twice as many this time.
Well, the screen is smaller, so I think you're going to find there's not as much room for shafts necessarily.
Well, that just means that a shaft of the same length is like bigger now. More screens.
I'm going to make a bold proclamation right now and say that this is a game that is I do think it is beatable within a week.
Whoa.
By a normal
really
player.
Turning up the pressure here.
I'm also going to say this is only our third Game Boy game we've ever played. Game Boy games tend to be short on the shorter end. And so far, if you count Tetris, you've beaten every Game Boy game we've played. So this is the test. We'll see how far you managed to make it in this one.
Yeah, we'll see. Now, before we close out, of course, we'll need to hear John's song that he wrote about his shingles. Take it away, John.
All right, here it is. All the shingles ladies, all the shingles ladies, all the shingles ladies. Heal yourself up.
That was a pretty good song.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. We love you. Sorry. Bye. Oh, Gamers out.
Gamers out. Avatar's out.